on the Fan Upstate.
On location yet again at Ingalls Markets Cole in Boiling Springs, the Springfield
That's
location, not Springdale. Don't
Yep,
get it.
yep,
Don't
yep.
get it confused. The Springfield location here on Asheville Highway in Boiling Springs. Would love to see you out here for the next 4 hours for a live show of Wire to Wire with Diesel and Cole Bryson. It is good to be here on location. Good to be back after 24 hours off the air. It's been kind of a whirlwind, Cole. Kind of catching up. Didn't get a lot of sleep last night, partying up in Asheville. But hey, it was a good time.
Somebody's got to do it.
Yeah,
somebody's got to be the one that takes vacation. Dewey was mad, by the way.
Oh, was he?
Yep,
I'm not surprised. Did he say I needed to be fired?
No, actually, he didn't. Believe it or not.
Oh.
Believe it or not, no. He. I do think it was Diesel doesn't deserve vacation or something like that, so he was upset.
I was going to take it as tacit permission to take a day off.
You have to ask Dewey, by the way.
I didn't realize that. From now on, we will. I'll just, visit my my local bridge and see if Dewey is hanging out underneath it somewhere, and I'll see if I can get a permission slip signed by Dewey for the next time. How about that? But welcome into the show. A big one lined up for you today. Got a lot to get to in the next segment. We're going to be talking Clemson, Florida State, as that's going to be the pillow fight of the week.
Oh, my
This weekend, we got the Upset Picks Challenge starting here in just about an hour at 4:20. Travis Hancock, co-host of the Mac and Bone Show on 92.7 in Charlotte. He's going to join us to talk Carolina Panthers and their lack of moves at the trade deadline. Tripper Jones, what he had to say about Walt Weiss, the brand new manager for the Atlanta Braves. And, of course, coming up at 5:20, Bill Bender of The Sporting News, going to take us all around the world of college football, Cole. But let's start with something that is very, very close to a lot of our Tolos' hearts, our four-legged friends. Cole, you know, you got your cat, you got your dog. You love having them around the house. They become a part of the family, but eventually, Cole, it's a sad fact of reality. They just kick the bucket and they go away. They leave us. Unless you're uber rich and you're Tom Brady and you are invested in a maybe a kind of a creepy industry, Colossal Biosciences. Tom Brady announced, Cole, that he has cloned his dog. Where is that on the sweet versus creepiness scale? Cloning your own family pet to bring him back.
You know, I saw this story a couple of days ago, maybe yesterday, and I've heard about this story probably 4 times now and still don't know what it means. I do not understand cloning a dog. What are we doing here? And the fact that it was Tom Brady is the reason that we're, obviously talking about it. But, we all love dog, even though, there's this hashtag going around that Madcraft just put out there, and I knew it was coming, that Cole hates dogs is, for whatever reason, what people believe. But I've heard this story now.
Madcraft hates answering questions directly.
That's true, too. I still don't understand how you clone a dog. It doesn't sound real, so I'm a little intrigued, a little disturbed all at the same time.
Well, this is the same company that made waves. You may remember this. It was about, a year ago, 2 years ago? They made waves by cloning a couple of dire wolves, bringing them back from extinction, animals that have been gone from us for a long, long time. They were supposedly able to clone them using an old dried-up blood sample that they found on the side of the road. Not sure what, but they did it. They brought it back. And there's talks, Cole, them trying to bring back the dodo, the other animals that they're trying to bring back to kind of reintroduce them into our naturalized world. I don't know about the dodo, though. The dodo's just dumb. The dodo didn't run away when humans showed up on the island that had dodos, and so they just ate them all. It was really pretty easy, actually. But family pet, see, Tom is an investor in this company, and it makes a lot of sense for Tom Brady, being one of the most famous people on the planet, especially here in the U.S., Cole, to be the one to take that plunge, to clone a family dog, a family pet that's been dead for almost 2 years now. They were able to take a blood sample before the dog originally passed away. The original dog was named Lua. They took a blood sample. As this dog was aging, it passed away. A year and a half later, I don't know how many times they tried. I don't know how many monstrosities they created, and they said, oh, nope, we'll Old Yeller that thing. But they brought it back as Junie. So Lua is now Junie. They are genetically identical. However, Cole, I did look this up. There's no guarantee that they're going to have the same personalities.
That's what I was wondering when you say genetically identical. So when you clone a dog, and again, this is so weird, but when you clone a dog, as Tom Brady did, the dog looks the exact same. It has the same features, I would imagine, that physically that the old dog had.
Yeah, I mean there would be no any injuries, any maladies, any burnt hair off his butt because it got too close to a hot radiator, that kind of thing. But otherwise, the dog genetically is identical.
And how I just don't understand the process of it. Like, are we okay with this?
Shouldn't be.
It's weird, isn't it?
Shouldn't be. Look, there's a lot of animals, Cole, that had their chance that just didn't make it, and it stinks. And hey, we're responsible for quite a few of them, for wiping out quite a few species because we as humans we don't really want to conserve until it's almost too late. But this is weird. It feels like Tom is trying to kick off a major industry of people who love their animals, who see their animals, getting older, and they say, I don't want to be without little Fluffy or little Minxie, and I'm going to call up Colossal Biosciences, throw a couple $1,000 down on the barrelhead, max out a credit card, whatever it may be, and I'm going to get my dog back. But again, the problem is there's no guarantee that you're going to get that dog back because there's so much nature versus nurture. Yeah, it's like I said, it is identical, but the circumstances in which you raise an animal still affect what that dog's personality is. Maybe your dog doesn't like to be yelled at because you yelled at it one time when you were when it was a little puppy, but you don't do that with the second dog, so it's not going to be the same dog.
Yeah, I had to look it up in terms of like the process of it because in order for me to understand how something works, I have to understand like the step by step. So when you look at what Tom Brady did, it's evidently called SCNT. It makes the new animal with the same DNA as the donor animal, but as you kind of mentioned, it's not guaranteed to act, look, or age exactly the same. Environment and epigenetics matter a lot, Diesel. It says the cloning process usually goes with the gathering of cells of the dog's DNA. So labs use a tissue sample, like the skin cells. You mentioned preserved blood before a pet dies. That's like the nucleus, the DNA, right? And then they have to get, okay, this is going in depth here, but they have to get an egg from the donor female dog and remove its nucleus. And then they have to insert the donor nucleus into the empty egg, activate the egg so it starts dividing, transfer the embryo and to the mother. The puppy's born, the genetic twin. Again, not an exact replay, but I don't know why this is just accepted. This is weird. I don't believe that. I don't know. Maybe I'm old school, and we've talked about this before, but why do we have to do this? Why it doesn't feel right.
Look, I love my dog, but when it's his time to go, it's his time to go. And
That's right.
And I'm not going to get another one just like him because you never know if the next animal might be better. You might have a better personality. Look, I think we're kind of stuck in this place right now in America, especially with the entertainment that we consume. People want to watch the same stuff over and over again because it's familiar, it's comforting, and I think people want the ability to do that. And I think that's where this is headed. They say that their goal is to fix extinction. They're going to be trying to bringing back other animals. They always want to talk about bringing the woolly mammoth back. They've already brought dire wolves back. Maybe dinosaurs, though we have a whole series of movies that prove this is a bad idea. It feels like we're headed in that direction, a la Jurassic Park, Cole. But you know where this is eventually going to go. It's going to go down the consumer route where you could have the ability for just a low payment of $10,000 of bringing your doggy back that you loved so much. It feels sick. It feels wrong, and it feels creepy.
Yeah, it does feel sick. I think I'm with you on that. And that was my next question is, what does it cost? What does it cost? Now, I know Tom Brady doing it, the cost is not an issue.
Sure.
But man, that's strange. I would love to know what the reason behind it is, other than like I know Tom Brady and others who support it may want their dog back, but I'd love to know the reason as to why people think it's acceptable. Why is it okay? I don't think should be acceptable. I don't think it should be okay.
Well, it started, 20 years ago? They cloned Dolly the sheep, and that was a big deal because it was the first time it had ever been done. I just looked this up, by the way. Another company called Viagen. Well, actually, I think this is somehow tied in with the company that Tom Brady is an investor in, says that cloning a pet costs approximately $50,000. Do you think Tom Brady paid that $50K, or do you think they threw Tom Brady a freebie?
Well, $50,000 to Tom Brady is like 10 cents
Right.
to me and you. So I would imagine it wouldn't matter either way, but maybe there was a discount involved. I think if what'd you say he was? Did you say he was part of the company?
Yeah, he's an investor.
Oh, well, if he's an investor, it probably didn't.
And it also
was on
makes
the house.
It makes him a spokesman for this. Think about it this way, Cole. You remember when flat screen TVs became a thing, and they were small, and they were thick, they were terrible to look at, but they were really expensive, like $10,000, because it's like, oh my God, we have this TV that we can hang on the wall now. How amazing is this? Now they've come down all the way to the price. You can get like an 85-inch TV for $300. It might not be top of the line,
yeah,
but you can get one, and it's still going to look pretty good. I just wonder if this is how this is going to go. Eventually, that $50,000 is going to come down to the point where they start tugging on some people's heartstrings. And hey, maybe you put it into your pet insurance that when little Rover dies, we can copy you another one, and you can have one for the low price of $2,000 or $3,000.
So could they change your mind on it?
No, it's not going to happen.
Even if the price was very affordable.
It is not going to happen.
Yeah, I'm the same way. $50,000. If it stays $50,000, you probably don't have to worry about it happening much. I can't imagine that. I guess athletes, are in a different category. They don't mind dropping $50,000 to have their pet back, but I don't know. $50,000 is still a lot of money.
Tolo Texana 844 fan phone says slow news day. Well, every single sports news outlet across the country has been talking about this for the last 24 hours. Bill Ryder was talking about it earlier. Rich Eisen was talking about it. We're talking about it. Everybody's talking about it. This is an interesting story. Otherwise, what do you want to talk about? You want to talk about Clemson being trashed? You want to talk about South Carolina being awful and not yet having their OC? What do you want to talk about, Texter? Come on. 844-326-3663. And Melissa Level is on site now, marketing director for Ingles Markets. Cole, some other stuff happening around the NFL. Man, this huge trade between the Jets and the Colts, sending Sauce Gardner to the Colts. It seems now with their strategy of trading away a couple of first-round picks over the next couple of seasons that they are happy with Daniel Jones at quarterback, and they are saying that is our guy for the conceivable future, the next 2 or 3 seasons.
Well, you know what? I think it shows a couple of things. Number one, I think it shows that in the NFL, when you have a strong foundation and a strong roster, you can be a quarterback away from being a Super Bowl contender. Now, I bring that up to parallel it with the Carolina Panthers, Diesel, because you and I have had this conversation a million times, and Tolos have had this conversation about roster building for Carolina, how it should look. Do you get a quarterback, try to focus around that, or do you try to build a team and then plug and play the quarterback? I think the Indianapolis Colts have shown us over the past 2 to 3 years, Diesel, that if you have a solid roster, you can have a good enough team that you can go get a Daniel Jones. And Daniel Jones, let's just –
why are you hating on Daniel
Well, let's
Jones?
be honest.
What did he do to you?
Diesel, there was nobody before this season that said, I'll tell you what, Daniel Jones makes you a Super Bowl caliber team,
but
right?
They were saying the same thing about Sam Darnold, and he's done it now at 2 different teams in a row.
And so that's kind of my point. You think about this, Diesel. You have this guy in Daniel Jones who steps into a very good situation. Mm-hmm. Now you're winning games. What are they, a 1-2-loss team? You go get Sauce Gardner, and you're like, oh, we're here to play. You're one of the best in his position in the National Football League. It shows me that the Colts are serious about winning now. They can run the football. They have one of the best running backs in the NFL. And I think the Colts have done a tremendous job roster building, even though just a couple of years ago, not long ago, Diesel, the Colts were a laughingstock because of what they were doing with Anthony Richardson. Mm-hmm. Turns out they were just a quarterback away.
Yeah, a team that was left for dead. I mean, you better hope, though, that Daniel Jones can take what he's achieved this year and start adding to it just a little bit year after year. I mean, the reclamation projects with quarterbacks in the NFL, it just goes to show that situation means everything. The situation that you're brought into, the coaches who are there to develop you, speaking the right language and getting the absolute best out of you. Your Cowboys got Quinnen Williams also off that Jets roster. They're in a fire sale, even though their GM says, "Nah, we're not rebuilding our team." Quinnen Williams moves over, Cole, to your Cowboys, 17 solo tackles, a sack, 3 forced fumbles already this season. That is huge for them. They needed a guy like Quinnen Williams.
They did. I just don't know if it matters this year. I think the Cowboys are I think the season's already over. I think the season's lost. So when you talk about what they've done this year, one of the worst defenses, not one of the worst, the league's worst defense in the NFL, and now you add this guy in Quinnen Williams, who, to be fair, he is one of the best at his position in the NFL. A tremendous football player. I just don't know that it matters. I think it might be too little too late. I think when you look at the playoffs, I don't know that they're making the playoffs. I would say right now there's very little chance they make the postseason, so I guess you're building for next year. But now you look back on the Micah Parsons trade, they got Kenny Clark and Quinnen Williams and a draft pick for Micah Parsons. If they can produce those two, maybe you feel like Dallas won that trade. But right now, the Dallas Cowboys need a lot more than Quinnen Williams.
Big weekend in the NFL, a couple of big games. Cole, Patriots, Bucks. It's going to be a good game. It doesn't necessarily have the most on the line because it's an AFC versus NFC matchup. For the Carolina Panthers, it feels like every game is a big game because you cannot lose the momentum that you have gained by stumbling against the awful New Orleans Saints. Though it is not that consequential of a game, you lose this one, you're still in second place in the division. The Falcons are not going to jump you if you lose this game, even if they win. So you're still going to be sitting at second place in the division, but you cannot afford to lose the momentum that you got. After beating the Packers, to lose to the Saints, to follow that up, that would be devastating to this team. I look, Cole, at one of the most consequential games. It's got to be the Rams and the 49ers. The Rams are healthy. The 49ers are pretty beat up, so it feels like maybe a foregone conclusion that the Rams are going to win this game on the road. But that is a game against two divisional foes. That one might have the most directly in front of them, the most on the line.
It's the sexiest game of the weekend, right? I mean, two teams that are 6-win teams and a 49ers team that lost their quarterback and lost a lot of good pieces, Diesel, but somehow, some way have managed to stay the course, and they're a 6-3 football team. This game's at home. To your point, I think this might be the best game of the weekend. Now, I will say, you talk about the Panthers potentially getting to 6 wins. Are you kidding me? So, yeah, you're right. They can't afford to lose it because the Saints stink. Carolina's favored by 5.5 points Sunday at home at 1 o'clock. I just look at this game and think, if you're Carolina, what an opportunity you have after you got drug at home by Buffalo 2 short weeks ago to turn around now, Diesel, and have another home game where your home fans have a chance to see you win 6 games. And I know that sounds crazy because you're like, 6 games in the NFL, every team should win 6 games. This team hadn't won 6 games in a while. So I think it's a tremendous opportunity. And, in fact, I'd say Carolina, I think it's a bit – we use must win too much, but I think this is a game where you're Carolina, to your point, you got to keep that momentum. You got to keep this thing going and somehow see if you can knock off the Saints, who are going to be obviously fighting because they're a 1-win team, and it's a division game.
Well, the fan base needs this a lot, Cole. It's just it's one of those things we've talked about it multiple times. No need to go back over it again. But the fact that the quarterback class does not look good this year, that means wide receivers and elite level running backs are going to be drafted highly. So the Panthers continue to win games. It makes the fans feel good, but it puts you in a disadvantageous position when it comes to the draft.
Yeah.
And so it's good and it's bad. That it's a double-edged sword that they're a winning team right now.
I'll say this though. You look at this game, I think you have to have it. Here's why.
Yeah.
You go to Atlanta the next week. You go to San Francisco the next week. You host the Los Angeles Rams the next week. So the next 3 opponents after this New Orleans teams comes to town, they're good football teams. And you're going to have an opportunity. If you win one of those 3, you feel like you've done something if you're Carolina. But what you can't do is you can't allow this 4-game stretch, Saints, Falcons, Niners, Rams, to be, there they are. There's the Carolina Panthers. You got to keep this momentum going into Atlanta. Imagine if they can go into Atlanta next week, Diesel. Think about this. This sounds crazy, outlandish. What if the Carolina Panthers next week are going into Atlanta looking for their 7th win of the season?
Yeah.
That's incredible.
And Atlanta's so up and down, up and down. Think about the possibility of sweeping the Falcons on the season and being 8-4. That is wild to be talking about the Carolina Panthers in playoff contention at this point. You know what's not wild is your opportunity to come by and score some Ingles gift cards. We got a stack of them here at the Asheville Highway location in Boiling Springs. It's the Springfield location. Come by and see us at Ingles Markets. Grab yourself an Ingles gift card. Just walk up to us and say Tolo, and we'll get you hooked up.
Bubba Brooks is in the house, so hopefully some more of you Tolos can come by as well. Look, it's a big show. We have a lot to get to, as you said, Diesel, with Bill Bender. We're talking Carolina Panthers a little bit later on in the show as well. But, man, just a lot to get to here on today's show. But let's take our first look, Diesel, at Clemson, Florida State. A big one this weekend in Clemson, but not a big one because of what we expected them to be, right? A lot of letdown compared to the hype, the preseason hype that they had coming in to this season. But Clemson, Florida State, our first look, our first thoughts on that. Reminder, the Upset Picks Challenge opens at 4 p.m., as Diesel said, and you can come by and get an Ingles gift card. You can get, let's see, is it $5 a piece? Is that right? $5. You can put that towards your dinner tonight. You can put that towards your grocery bill, or you can just go get you Red Bull, watermelon flavor Red Bull, like I drink way too many of every single day. Clemson, Florida State, first look next. Well, Clemson fans, what are your initial thoughts on Saturday's matchup? Prime time. It sounds funny to say that, but it's prime time slot on ACC Network. But I'm still going to use prime time because that's what we thought it would be before the start of the season. But what are your thoughts initially, Clemson fans, on the matchup with Florida State? Dabo Swinney talked about the Seminoles yesterday. We had that audio yesterday in the 6 o'clock hour in Dabo's weekly press conference. But we do know that despite their record, despite them losing, 4 games in a row, 3 out of 4, whatever it was, in the last month and a half, we do know, Diesel, that Tommy Castellanos is a good quarterback. And Tommy Castellanos showed signs of being a good quarterback at his previous destination in Boston College. He comes to Florida State. They start the year with a huge win over Alabama. We think, oh, man, Florida State's back, right? Well, unfortunately, things didn't work out that way. Florida State's mightily struggled in ACC play. I like Tommy Castellanos as a quarterback. I still think that Clemson's defense, as bad as they've been, have to figure out a way to really put pressure on Tommy Castellanos Saturday night. What's your initial thoughts on how you think this one will play out, 3-4 days away now?
Well, it's this Clemson team has been so hard to get a beat on all season long because as soon as the offense looks terrible, they get a bye week, they look great, and then they slowly slide back down to the middle, and then they get a bye week, and then they look great, and then their defense gives up 46 points to Duke coming off of a bye. So it's going to be a fascinating football game. I think the defense is going to allow some points. I really don't know that this thing is going to turn around. Maybe they improve a little bit and they give up 44 points instead of 46 points. But, Cade and this offense, I think, are finding some kind of a rhythm, and that's certainly a good thing. Even if it is this late in the season, there are still matchups that matter to fans, and that has to be the focus is fan service at this point. But, I like Clemson's ability to maybe to put up 35 points, which should give them an opportunity to win this game, but you just don't know.
Yeah, and, I also think Clemson's offense is figuring it out. And maybe that's because Garrett Riley feels pressure. Maybe that's because Cade Klubnik's playing at a higher level. You can throw in your reasoning there, but they're going up against a Florida State defense that's not a horrible defense. They're not one of the best in college football either. But when you look at the personnel, it's kind of similar to Clemson, Diesel. Earl Little Jr. in the secondary, 50-plus tackles on the year. Earl Little's one of the best players at his position in the ACC. I think you'll see Earl Little play on Sundays a lot. So you look at these two teams, and I think there's a lot of similarities just in the fact of there's more. You feel like there's more talent on the field, on the roster, than what the record shows. And with Florida State and Clemson both, you look at both rosters. Melissa's just laughing over there.
She heard us talk about Florida State. She's like, it's my time.
And it's laughable. To your point, it's laughable. Both teams won as bad as they've been lately Saturday night's game. So I think they're in similar situations from the standpoint of you're looking like you're going to see guys off this Florida State team playing on Sundays. You're going to see guys off of this Clemson team playing on Sundays. It's similar in the sense of us as college football fans trying to wrap our minds around why these two teams aren't better. Because on paper, and I know somebody's yelling at me, the games aren't played on paper. On paper, Diesel, Florida State's a pretty dang good football team. Similar to Clemson, where their record doesn't show that.
Well, if it's on paper, then you might as well burn that sheet of paper because both of them are telling you lies. Here's the interesting thing about this game, Cole. Clemson favored by 2.5 in this one, yet somehow the ESPN matchup predictor only gives them a 46% chance to win the game. How are you favored at home when you have less than a 50% chance to win the game? That's one of those fascinating stats. How does it play out the way that it's played out? Tommy Castellanos, you're right. A lot of talent. I expected more out of him at Florida State to this point in the season. 10 touchdowns. He's been a little interception happy, but not awful. Certainly not among the worst in the country when it comes to throwing interceptions. You knew this guy was a creative type of player. He's just not getting it done to the level that we thought he would. But we didn't necessarily go into the season thinking that Tommy Castellanos had to be amazing to win football games for Florida State. They've been really good at finding ways to lose.
Yeah, and you look at the two quarterbacks. I think there's going to be a lot of attention Saturday night on both the quarterbacks, even though both teams have had horrible seasons. You know, when we looked at this matchup preseason, we thought, oh boy, Clemson, Florida State, probably going to be prime time at Death Valley, conference championship implications on the line. And none of that's true now, but you do look at the quarterbacks and you think, okay, even though both teams stink, the quarterbacks, I think, are going to be what you want to watch Saturday, even if you're not a fan of Clemson or Florida State. Kate Klubnik, you brought it up. He played well last week, 385 yards, 2 touchdowns. You also saw some promise from Gideon Davidson. It took long enough, right? Hauling in or rushing for 51 yards, 12 carries. He was averaging just over 4 yards a carry last week. Antonio Williams was really good last week, 10 catches, 142. Now that Bryant Wesco's done for the season, Clemson put up 560 total yards of offense last week. So I know this isn't the primetime, exciting, flashy, sexy game that a lot of people hope for, but I do believe it could still be a really good game Saturday. I do believe, to your point, I think there's going to be some points scored. And unless Clemson's defense just drastically gets better, especially in the secondary, in the busted coverages that we saw last week, I think Florida State's going to move the ball and have some success against that horrible secondary from Clemson. So while the matchup is, while the game's on ACC Network, I wouldn't be surprised if this turns out to still be a really good football game, even though the two teams are bad.
Yeah, I think we got a lot of guys on Clemson's team, offense and defense, who are essentially playing for themselves, trying to generate stats that will get them drafted this year in the NFL draft. They, a lot of them, they're all going to get drafted anyway, or a lot of these guys are going to be picked up in this NFL draft, Cole. But there's a lot of guys on that defensive secondary that if I'm an NFL scout, I'm saying, I don't know. Like, these guys are supposed to be all everything. They had everything set up for them, and they just haven't been able to produce. I wonder if that means we're going to see guys, Cole, maybe pressing a little bit. You got DBs or linebackers that are who might be trying to jump routes so that they can get those interceptions and keep their draft stock high. That, to me, is one of those problems that once you get this deep in the season, there is no fixing it, because these guys have their eyes clearly set a couple of months down the road as they're going to become professionals. Cade Klubnik has a chance to set some records this weekend. He has a chance to try to tie Kelly Bryant for the second most number of rushing touchdowns from a quarterback in a Clemson uniform. And if he wants to try to catch Trevor Lawrence and set himself up there with TL, he's going to have to pick up a couple of rushing touchdowns over the course of the next couple of games of the season. And do we think that has a possibility for a team that's built around unselfish play? Do we think that has a possibility of creeping in and maybe changing the way some of these guys, behave on the field?
Well, I'll tell you what, when you talk about behaving on the field, I look at this, Diesel, Saturday night, and as a fan of college football, I am most intrigued by how this Clemson defense responds. I'm most intrigued by what kind of demeanor this Clemson defense plays with Saturday night. When you look at the Clemson defenses under Brent Venables, did Brent Venables steal signs? Whatever. But I'll tell you what Brent Venables' defenses did do. They played hard. And you remember how hard the high motors that a lot of these guys had, Diesel, that was the trademark. So as a fan, when you talk about players and what they're playing for an NFL draft and yada, 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 the biggest thing I'm looking at is how do they respond after a tough week of practice. I've heard this week at practice hadn't been fun. I've heard it's been pretty brutal for a lot of players, especially on the defense side of the football. We've all seen the butt chewing that the defense got from Dabo Swinney. How do the players respond to a tough week last week, giving the game away, not being able to play complimentary football, and a tough week of practice? I think all of a sudden that becomes the most exciting aspect. And I just brought up the quarterbacks. And I know I'm trying to pump this game up to make it sound like it's going to be a heck of a game to watch. But ultimately, Diesel, I really do believe that when you look at Clemson's defense, there's a lot these guys have to answer the bell. There's a lot to be said about how they respond after what happened last week.
Yeah, it's going to be maybe it's going to be a race to 24 points, and maybe it's going to be a race to 50 points. We either see two teams that have elite offenses that can't play any defense, or maybe just everybody sucks and turns out to be a boring football game.
Kane says they played with a lot of heart and enthusiasm after stealing those signs. Well, Kane, I didn't say they stole the signs. By the way, Kane says FSU wins 56-49. You cannot say anything about Clemson without somebody getting upset about something you said about Clemson. We spent the whole first two segments of the show yesterday, Diesel, were on this, and here we go again. Like, I never said the players were stealing signs, Kane. So we talked about it a couple of weeks ago. Lane Kiffin talked about it with Brent Venables. It wasn't a shot. There is a lot of sensitivity right now among Clemson's fan base, and I certainly understand why. But again, Brent Venables is not at Clemson anymore. I didn't accuse the players of doing it. We're talking about Brent Venables. I said, and if you heard me correctly, they used to play with a lot of heart, a lot of fight. And I think that was a big trademark of that Clemson defense. And you know what, man? You throw records out. This is still Clemson, Florida State. Both teams should, keyword Diesel, should come into the game playing for some pride, right?
Yeah.
Like, this is still a huge rivalry game regardless of what the records are.
Consider the fact, Cole, that if Clemson loses this game, they will have lost 4 straight home games this season. They will be 1-4 on the season, with the only home win being against Troy. And they struggled to win that football game. And the only other game they have left on the schedule at home is 2 weeks from now against Furman. Now, we are fairly certain that Clemson's talent's going to be able to get them past the Furman Paladins. But, Cole, if you don't have a single power conference home win in a season, I wonder, you've seen it as many times as I have. Sometimes when Clemson isn't playing elite football, those corners up there in Death Valley, they sit empty.
Been that way all season.
Yeah, and it's going to get worse and worse. If fans cannot expect hard-fought games at home, that's going to be tough on attendance.
I'll tell you this. Speaking of attendance, I'm not lying. I could go through my text messages right now and probably dig up 10 to 12 text messages in the last 6 days of people selling tickets. There is I've seen it on Twitter. I've seen it on Facebook. People are reaching out to me. Hey, you know anybody that has people I hadn't heard from in 3 to 4 years? Hey, you know anybody looking for tickets? So
what do you think you are, a scalper?
I guess so. I mean, I guess they want me to just read off a list on the radio. Bob, and it's like the movie Elf, where the buddies, reading off the names on the Bob in Simpsonville, 3 tickets, upper deck. Greg and Lawrence, 2. I guess that's what they want me to do. But it's a good question when it comes to attendance. I don't know. I think there will be some empty corners. It's a night game. I still think there will be a good crowd. But, hey, we saw it last week. We saw it against SMU. Let Florida State come out there guns a-blazing, and your defense look as bad as it has been. And by 9 o'clock, 9:30, it might be more than just corners.
Hey, where I give this Clemson offense a lot of credit is they took a shot from Duke in that first half, and they gave up a lot of points and a lot of big throws early. They fought their way back. They kept scoring. The offense did their job. The defense didn't do their job last week. We'll see if a week of butt chewing from Tom Allen can turn this defense around. And all they need to do, Cole, is be serviceable. All they need to do is be serviceable. Hold Tommy Castellanos down a little bit. Hold this Florida State team to 28 points, and you feel good about your chances to win this ball game.
And they got to generate pressure. That's when we talk about it on the offensive line with South Carolina all season. When you look at Clemson's defensive line and all the different position groups out there, everybody wants to rag on the secondary, and rightfully so. The secondary has been horrible this season. But just like with the offensive line, when your defensive line, Diesel, can get pressure on the quarterback, it makes everybody behind you look a whole lot better. It makes the linebackers look better. It makes the guys in the secondary look better. So you get pressure on Tommy Castellanos, and all of a sudden we're not eyeing that secondary as much anymore. So I think it starts up front. When you go back and look at those Brent Venables defenses, that's where it started. It was up front, man. Clemson won in the trenches, and those guys that are going to the NFL on that defensive line, I want to see them Saturday come out and play with some pride. I want to see them come out and want to win and have that desire. And I know the team sucks, but we talked about it last week. Diesel, from a fan perspective, guess what? Those players are still getting paid. Those coaches are still getting paid. If I spend my money and my entire Saturday to go down there and watch it, I want to see them win. I want to see them play well. I want to see them have some fight. some pride, some swagger about them. And I don't care what the record says. They're still getting paid. I want to see you put that effort on display.
When we come back, Cole, let's take our whip around the sports world. What's going on out there outside of the upstate? Our Daily Wires coming up next.
Remember, you got the live.
Tolos, so much going on out there in the sports world. We do a rapid-fire segment every day where we get to all of it in one little block call. We call them our Daily Wires, the Buzz. The Upset Picks Challenge opens here in just 12 minutes, Tolos. Do you have your Week 11 Upset Picks ready to go? Well,
You
coming
better.
up in just about 11 minutes now, you'll have a chance to start sending them in. Last night in college football, Ohio beat Miami of Ohio 24-10. Good ball game there in the MAC. And Akron beat UMass 44-10. Not a good ball game there in the MAC.
No.
The South Carolina Gamecocks men's basketball team 1-0 on the season. They beat North Carolina A&T 91-72, though they should be handling A&T. So, hey, you do what you're supposed to do. You look pretty good. You put up 91 points in the first game of the season. You're off to a good start.
I watched some of it this morning, and I think South Carolina has better depth this year than they had last year. And I think that's something you'll want to be excited about. We all know how tough it was last year for the Gamecocks, and I think that's one of the issues with depth. I like their depth, and you're right. It's North Carolina A&T, but I mean, I think they're going to be solid. I'm not going to predict them to go, win the conference, but I think they'll be a solid team.
What I liked about that game, Cole, and again, I didn't get to watch because I was traveling, but they had 5 guys finish in double figure scoring.
Mm-hmm.
That's good. When you can, and 2 of those guys came off the bench. So anytime you can get that kind of production from your bench guys who may end up being your starters a couple of weeks in if they keep doing this, who knows, or a couple of games in. Tonight in college football, Kent State at Ball State. Barn burner football
Make sure
game there.
you get the popcorn ready for that one.
And NIU at Toledo, another big game there. Maction taking over midweek football viewing for you Tolos.
I love it.
Ohio State, the number 1 team in the first rankings, released Tuesday by the College Football Playoff Selection Committee, followed by number 2 Indiana and number 3 Texas A&M. 3 SEC teams follow the Aggies: Alabama 4, Georgia 5, Ole Miss number 6. And then it's BYU, Texas Tech, Oregon, and Notre Dame, all of them rounding out the top 10. The best ACC team in America, and don't check your calendars. Don't check to see if you're dreaming. The number 1 team in the ACC right now, Virginia, at number 14.
I like it.
Wild stuff. The Hornets off to a 3-5 start game now through 8. They took a 116-112 loss to the Pelicans yesterday. In a game that Zion Williamson didn't play in.
And you give the Pelicans their first win of the season. So congratulations, Charlotte, doing what Charlotte does best.
Well, they got to get Brandon Miller back and get him healthy.
They got to get a lot more than Brandon Miller. They need a lot more. They need a coach, an owner.
Speaking of more local upstate basketball, Marty Richter and his USC Upstate Spartans team going to take on Fresno State in California. So a late game for those guys. Can they handle the travel?
They're playing a couple of teams out there while they're across the country, if you will, and good luck to them. We had Marty Richter on a couple of weeks ago when we were live at the Morgan Squared Madness event, and I love Marty Richter. I think he's a tremendous coach, and I love Jason Williams, the women's coach over there at Upstate too, and we had him on the show. So best of luck to both of those coaches this season.
Fresno, California, by the way, the birthplace of Cher. If you didn't know that.
No.
I was like, who famous is from Fresno? And I had to look it up. And I had to go to 3rd on the list to find Cher.
Who was first and second?
Some Pulitzer Prize winning author and somebody else I've never heard of. How is Cher not number 1 on that list?
Somebody who writes books.
LSU has removed the interim tag on new AD Verge Osbury. Verge was a linebacker for the Tigers. He's been connected to the university for more than 30 years. New school president Wade Rousset made the decision yesterday on his first day in office. Wow.
There you go.
Not wasting any time there in Baton Rouge. The first round of the 12-team CFP will start 8 p.m. Eastern on December 19th on ABC and ESPN, followed by a triple header the next day on December 20th. Each of the 4 first-round games going to be played on campuses. Those selections, of course, will be made on Selection Day on December 7th. The New York Jets sent Sauce Gardner to the Colts for 2 first-round picks, and they also sent a big-time defender to the Dallas Cowboys. So the Jets cleaning house right now. At least that's how it looks. But GM Darren Moogie said, I wouldn't call it a teardown.
What do you call it?
Yeah, what do you call it? A fire sale?
You trade to everybody.
Yeah. 6-time Super Bowl winning coach Bill Belichick and 4 other head coaches who won Super Bowls are among the 9 semifinalists in the coach category for the 2026 class in the Pro Football Hall of Fame. Belichick is in his first year of eligibility. We talked about this to start things, Cole. Tom Brady revealed that his dog, Junie, is a clone of his old dog, Lua, that died in 2023. Still weird, creepy. And Clemson basketball back in action, hosting Gardner Webb on Friday at 7 p.m. And those are your Daily Wires.
Tolos, here we go. Big news. We haven't even started the upset pick segment yet, and I already have my upset pick. I know that might come to surprise a lot of you. I've got mine. I'm excited about it. I also have a new strategy I think a lot of our Tolos should implement that I've been thinking about. The Upset Picks Challenge opens in 6 minutes at 844-326-3663. Looking for, give me a number. Let's go. 45 entries.
I like it.
In the very first segment today, 45 is the number we're looking for. Next. to get your upset picks in at 844-326-3663. Hurricane Jeff just dropped by. He got himself an Ingles gift card as Diesel and I are live on Asheville Highway at Ingles. It's 8650 Asheville Highway right across the street from Mountain View Prep. The Upset Picks Challenge is open, and if you're listening to the show, we need an upset pick from you at 844-326-3663. If you have dropped out or have not entered yet, let today be the day you get right back in. It's a lot of fun. It's challenging, hence the name Challenge Diesel, but it's worth it. 844-326-3663 is the way you can get your upset pick. We need your name, the game, and the spread. Perfect example on the Hub City Spartanburgers text line. Boomer Bill gets in and says Northwestern plus 14.5 over USC. That's Boomer Bill, his name. Northwestern, the game, plus 14.5 over USC. Northwestern is the underdog. That is exactly how you send the text in. Let's get 45 Tolo entries in this segment. Yes, that's a high number, Diesel, but I believe we can rebound and have a big, strong week with the upset picks.
Yeah, I'm just now starting to kind of look over the games and look at what I like. I didn't see a ton that jumped out at me like there is a high possibility of hitting on this one and it also being worth some points. That's where this week has been a little bit difficult, but hey, you get to week 11, you got to start swinging for the fences a little bit. I don't know that playing conservative. I would rather end with 0 points than end with like 8 points. Because at least then I was swinging. I was trying to make a move up. Hurricane Jeff, he's here. He hit on a big one last week.
40 plus, by the way.
Goodness gracious.
Is how many spots he moved. It was the biggest of the week.
A ton of points. I have a feeling, Cole, we're going to see more and more and more of that. And, hey, all you got to do is hit on one of those, and you're set for the remainder of the season. And if you could add a little bit here and there, it's kind of like, adjusting your strategy. It's okay to take a flyer on one every now and again. And if you hit, great. You're set up. You're there on the left-hand side of the bracket, left-hand side of the leaderboard, and then you can just start stacking little ones here and there to keep moving up.
What if Ole Miss, who plays the Citadel Saturday, and by the way, there's no spread on that game. There's no spread, so you can't pick that one. What if there's no way this happens. We saw Ole Miss do this to Furman last year, right? And it was a bloodbath. But what if there was one game a year where we said, this is the Joker. It has no spread. Because it has no spread, that means it's not going to happen.
Right.
But if you choose this game and it hits,
all
of a sudden, you catapult to what? Top 10?
Instantly 10th place.
Yeah. Instantly, some kind of Joker. I'm looking down the list. I've got a few in mind. You said that none have jumped off the page to you yet. You've got to look closer, Diesel. If you do like this, look closer at the screen. They'll jump off to you, and you'll see which ones you can pick. You can take App State. App State's favorite. No. Did I say that right?
App State is favorite.
Oh, so you can't take
Georgia Southern, but then
and
again,
that's not going to happen.
They're horrible. So is App State. They're both terrible football teams. I almost took that one. I almost picked against my own team because I don't trust them.
Oh man, let's go to the phone lines. 844-326-3663. Tolos, get it in right now. If you just tuned into the show, the Upset Picks Challenge is open at 844-FAN-PHONE. That's FANFONE. We go to the phone lines where the one and only Dewey is on line one. We've also we usually hear from Dalvin. Hopefully we'll hear from Dalvin here today. But Dewey, do you have your upset pick? Dewey,
you there? Can't hear you if you are.
Dewey, did you pay your phone bill? Dewey.
Sean, can you check the phone line and make sure the phone line is set up correctly? Make sure that it's in utility and we can hear Dewey.
Dewey.
There he is.
There he is. Hey, scream it louder until you cannot scream it louder anymore.
Stupid.
That was the best.
It sounded like an elk out in nature.
It did. Ooh. That was great. Dewey, what's up, man?
I was drinking beer and doing some reading. And first of all, did you see that the Braves pitched staff pitching coach got fired, and the first base coach got fired,
Ooh.
and Brady Gonzalez got fired too.
Ooh.
They all got fired.
You like that, don't you?
And they hired a couple of people from the Mets. I don't know if they're any good, but it's a start.
You were just bashing the hire yesterday of Walt Weiss.
Well, I give him 2 years.
Okay. 2
I
years.
only give him a third year. I only give him 2 years.
I'm surprised you're giving him 2 games.
Yeah, no
Dewey,
kidding.
2 games into the season next year, you're going to be calling in and saying he needs to be fired. If the Braves start 0-2, you'll be calling in and saying he needs to be fired.
Yeah, I'm surprised they fired Kranich, but he has a lot of explaining to do about all his pitchers getting injured. So that he's fired and it's trying to find someone else.
Hey, Dewey, real quick before you give your upset pick. Yes, last week we put you on the spot, and we asked you to give a weather report. You did. It was fantastic. We sent it in to what's the guy's name? Tessitore? Is it not Tessitore? That's
Chris Justice?
no, the guy on the Big Weather channel. You know who I'm talking about. The guy who's always
Al.
No, not Al. I'm thinking of Joe Tessitore, but it's not Joe Tessitore.
Oh,
You know who I'm talking about, the guy that's on the Weather Channel all the time. We sent
Jim
Dewey.
Cantori?
Thank you, Jim Cantori. We sent Dewey's weather report to Jim Cantori to see if they could hire Dewey. But now, Dewey, we're going to put you on the spot one more time. Can you give us a PSA? It's a public service announcement, in case you didn't know, to the Tolos out there listening on this beautiful Wednesday evening. A PSA for every single Tolo listening to get their upset pick in right now at 844-FAN phone. Go.
Yeah, get your upset picks in now, or else you'll all be fired.
How'd I know that was coming?
Dewey, you're in 7th place right now with 40 points. Let that sink into all the other Tolos. Dewey is ahead of you in the upset picks challenge.
Yay.
Not you, Leprechaun of Lyman, or Canes Transplant, or Pumpy Monkey Baby, or FU Ashley, USC Justin, or Dave Mosley. But everybody else, Dewey's in front of you. Dewey, who is your pick for this week?
I'm going for the kill this week. I'm not being first place. I've been doing some drinking and some reading, and I'm going with Syracuse over Miami, 28.5.
Wow. How about that?
Dewey.
Syracuse got them last year. I think Syracuse can do it again, even though Syracuse, I think, is sucking all year. But
Well, they don't have a quarterback right now.
Carson Beck sucks, so
That's
there's
true.
a chance.
God. So good luck to you, Dewey. Dewey was right, by the way.
8.5 points. Then I'll be in first place.
Yeah, you'll probably win the whole freaking thing if you hit this. Will he be in? Is that
No,
right?
he would have – it's 28.5 points. That'll put him in 68.5 points. That'll put him in second place, depending on what happens with the other Tolos right there.
And Dewey, that's not good enough. Dave Mosley has 80.5 points. So if you just tuned in and you haven't played before or participated in the challenge, we're talking about these points, the standings you can find on our Facebook page and Twitter page. If the spread, the game that you pick hits, that's how many points you're allocated every single week. So it's not too late to get in. 844-326-3663.
Thanks, Dewey.
Thank you, Dewey. Give me a real quick, Diesel. Give me a The first one he gave, though, was
In your face, Matt Crap.
All right.
You're going to be fighting after this defeat.
all right. Kill the phones.
Thanks,
Bye, Dewey. That's
Oh.
great. Now, I will say I laugh at Dewey because usually he's wrong. However, 28.5 points is a lot, but he was right on Miami a couple of weeks ago. So you do give him credit for that. And he has, what did you just say? He's in 7th place?
Yeah.
So, I mean, we can make fun of Dewey, but maybe Dewey knows ball.
He's kicking our butts. He's kicking our butts. 844-FAN phone. Tolos, 844-326-3663. Need your name, your game, and the spread. Tolos Sean, Palmetto Buckeyes, Tigers Dakota, Hurricane Jeff. He's got his pick in. He just stopped by here. He's texting.
He was
the
literally
call is
looking
coming
right
from
there.
inside the house.
Yeah.
How about that?
Is that what movie is that? When a stranger calls?
Well, what is it?
When a stranger
I
calls?
mean, it happened in the movie Scream,
Oh,
right?
no.
He was inside
No, I'm
the
thinking
house.
about when you've seen When a Stranger Calls, right?
No.
I believe it's like two kids it's an old movie, and the call does come from inside the house. It's kind of similar. Anyways,
Yeah.
Rabbit Trail.
Isaac, Leprechaun of Lyman, Kevin Ramsey. Hurricane Jeff, by the way, he's going with a big swing this week. He's going home dogs Marshall over James Madison. And here's what's crazy, Cole.
Right?
I just saw a guy walk through here with a James Madison alum sweatshirt.
I did see that
a while ago.
I did see that. Isn't that crazy? That's you
wild.
didn't think. But you know what? James Madison, man, like it's a big school. It's not huge. It's not Ohio State big, but it's a big school, and I don't see it happening. I don't see that happening. I like JMU a lot. I said last week I think I'm adopting JMU as my new team just because of their color schemes.
Yeah.
And everybody else in our state sucks. So I think I'm declaring that I might be a JMU fan.
Just shy of 23,000 students,
That's pretty
Cole,
big.
which makes it about the same size as Clemson. My picks, Cole, I'm looking at a couple of different games. I did look at that one, Hurricane Jeff. I'm not sure yet if I'm going to go with you on
The
it.
JMU?
The JMU Marshall game.
That's bold.
You're right. It's Marshall's a home dog. It's a rivalry game. Anything could happen here. I'm also looking at Southern Miss at Arkansas State plus 4.5. This is a battle for first place in the West in the Sun Belt. That's an interesting one. It's not worth a ton of points there. I'm looking at Oregon at Iowa plus 6.5. Iowa home dog. They've been playing really good defense, giving up an average of less than 10 points a game over the last 3 weeks, hosting Oregon. So that could be really interesting. It's also going to be cold and rainy this weekend in Iowa. So maybe that slows Dante Moore down just a little bit. And then I'm also looking at 0-8. Sam Houston plus 20.5.
Oh, my God.
At Oregon State.
You been hanging out with Dewey?
Who fired their head coach, and they've won 2 in a row. So this is really interesting.
Really, really. Hey, let me ask you about this one. And by the way, Tolos, if you just tuned into the show, get your upset pick in right now. We're calling for 45 entries is the number we're looking for here in this very first segment. 844-326-3663. We need your name, the game, and the spread. Again, 45 entries. Let's get this thing back on the train tracks. Let me ask you, can I interest you in this one? 1 o'clock Saturday.
Okay.
Conference USA, baby. The biggest, the baddest, the largest, the best. It just means more. Conference freaking USA. Liberty at 4-4.
Okay.
Not a good year.
Nope.
They are hosting Missouri State. Missouri State's
The
5-3. Is that what they are?
The Bears.
The Bears. So they're hosting the Bears for Missouri State. 5-3 Missouri State. They're 3-1. Both teams are 3-1 in conference play.
Yeah.
Liberty is favored by 7.5 points. Can I interest you? And then the Bears on Saturday, Diesel.
Missouri State at Liberty.
Come on, take the candy. Come on.
I don't know. They did capture, Missouri State did capture my imagination last week when it was revealed that they have a bathroom inside their stadium that you can look out of the windows and still have a view of the field. That's awesome. We need more of that in this country, but I don't know, man.
No.
I don't know if that's going to be tantalizing enough to me.
So
you said you had your pick all ready to go. Are you willing to reveal it this early?
I am. Here's where I am, though. I do have my pick, but I also have about 2 more.
You're undecided.
No, I think I'm going to send in 3. That gives me a better chance to hit, right?
So are you playing as 3 different players in this thing, Cole?
No. Maybe that's what my strategy will be next year. That's a good idea. I've never thought about that.
Not bad.
I do have a strategy I'd like to propose in just a second. But to answer your question, I was looking at one. I was looking at Stanford over North Carolina. North Carolina's horrible. Stanford's horrible as well. But North Carolina's favored by 7.5 points.
Who's horribler?
Record-wise, UNC is because they're 1-3 in conference. Stanford's 2-4. So, both teams are bad, and I think that's a big spread. Maybe I'll just pick that one, Stanford to cover, but
plus North Carolina doesn't know how to finish games. Twice we've seen them get taken down at the goal line on potential game winners. So think how different this UNC season could look. It still wouldn't be a great season. Don't get anybody wrong there.
All right,
but it could be considerably different.
I've got mine.
Okay.
I've got my pick, my upset pick. at 844-326-3663. I'm giving it to you live on the air, not texting it in. But I am riding with the boys in blue of BYU.
Okay.
To upset, a massive upset over Texas Tech. BYU is a 10.5-point dog. BYU, though, Diesel, they're 8-0. They're 5-0 in the Big 12. And like I said, going into Lubbock, Texas, at Jones AT&T Stadium, not Jerry Jones's AT&T Stadium.
Not that Jerry.
But
his brother
they're
Barry.
going in. That's right. They're going in as 10.5-point dogs. And this BYU team, like I said, they're playing with a little mojo. They've got confidence. And I think they're a good team. And guess what? Saturday, we're due for a big upset. And dadgummit, this is going to be the upset.
What does Vegas know here, though? Because this, according to the rankings, is the number 7 and the number 8 team going head-to-head. Texas Tech, the home team, they're favored by 10.5. Why such a big spread?
It's probably because of BYU's schedule. They've beaten Iowa State. They did beat Utah, but they only beat them by 3. Portland State. So they hadn't played anybody. And the toughest team they played was Utah, and they won by 3 in Provo. So you're right. It is a large spread, but it would be a big, big upset. But I do believe there's a little substance here with BYU. It's more than just a record. It's more than unbeaten. I'm going with the BYU Cougars.
Okay.
That's right. That should have known that, mascot.
Interesting. Coach AJ is taking that same game. Mays and Brew is taking that same game. And there was one earlier who took it. Let's see. Rory in Spartanburg also going with BYU plus 10.5.
Is that Roy McElroy?
No, I don't know. Does Rory live?
I think he has a house in
Spartanburg.
Spartanburg. Yeah, over there on the east side near Duncan Park. Yeah,
interesting. So. Cole, I'm going to make my pick right here, right now, on the spot. I am going to take Iowa in nasty weather over Oregon.
That's a big
Iowa
one.
plus 6.5 over Oregon. They've been playing really good defense. Oregon has kind of regressed to the mean offensively. They're not bad, right? They're still putting up a decent number of points week in and week out. But I think that Iowa's going to get them this weekend.
I like it, Tolos. We need to keep it rolling. 844. We're running off the break, but we got to keep it rolling at 844-326-3663. Again, we need your name, the game, and the spread. We've had a pretty good turnout here in this 4 o'clock segment in terms of upset pick entries. But let's do this. Before we come back out of the break, let's get 10 more entries at 844-326-3663. Need your name, the game, and the spread in the upset picks challenge. Before we come back with our guest, Diesel, who you're about to introduce, 10 more upset picks. If not, we're pulling the plug. Show's over. I'm just calling it. We got to do it. 10 more.
Let's go, Tolos. Get him to us. 844-FAN-PHONE. And coming up next, we're going to go to the heart of Carolina Panther country, and we're going to be talking to Travis Hancock, co-host of the Mac and Bone Show on 92.7 in Charlotte. Talking Panthers next.
Jason and Diesel on the Fan Upstate.
Well, the Carolina Panthers off to, by their standards, a white-hot start in this 2025 NFL season. And to talk about it, we go right to the source, talking Carolina Panthers in this segment with Travis Hancock, co-host of the Mac and Bone Show on 92.7 The Game in Charlotte. Travis, you posted something really interesting this morning, that the Panthers are 1-6 in the last 7 games that you've attended. I just want to know, what is your eject point? Is it halftime? Is it third quarter? If they're down, what time are you going to make that final call? I got to get the heck out of here, hop on a Lime scooter, and get as far away from Bank of America Stadium as I can.
9 a.m. this morning after I posted that. Because, I went and checked Twitter later, and we know that when we post stuff, it's like not a huge deal. I looked at it and said, why is there 180 things happening with this post right now? And then I went and scrolled, and I would say about 95% of it was get out, don't go, how dare you. I mean, I was getting yelled at. Like, it went places I didn't think it would go. They were calling me an idiot. I was like, I thought it would go to like 10 people. We'd move on, and I forgot I posted it, and I lost all self-confidence after that. But I don't even want to watch the game on TV. Never mind, go to the game. I got beaten down today. I got canceled, I think. I got completely canceled.
Bone, what's up, man? It's Cole. Appreciate you hopping on with us. Bone of the Mac and Bone Show on WFNZ in Charlotte. Always appreciate your time, man. When you look at this season, the Carolina Panthers have a big opportunity Sunday at home. But let me ask you about this. Running the rock, Rico Dowdle. Is Dan Morgan, in your mind, going to get enough credit for the acquisition of Rico Dowdle coming from Dallas in the offseason?
That's a great question, because Dan Morgan seems to be talked about a lot when a draft pick doesn't work out, or, Rico's not running well. It'll be, why did you sign him? But when guys do play well, maybe the GMs don't get enough of the credit, or all the focus goes towards, did he hit on a draft pick or not, and not the value signings along the way. No, he deserves full credit. We went through that stage of trying to figure out why Dave Canales was balancing it out when the whole world knew that Rico is running better right now. We'll see what the future holds with Rico as the free agent. Chuba signed for the long haul. Jonathan Brooks in the pipeline, whatever he can provide as a drafted guy. But, man, you talk about getting value back. Rico's on a 1-year, $2 million deal with incentives. And, by the way, I'm pretty sure he's going to hit those incentives that he signed up for. But, man, what a revelation, what a runner. And crazy, too, he only had 7 carries in his first 3 years as a pro. So he's 27 years old, but played high school quarterback as well. 27-year-olds very rarely have this little wear and tear in their body as running back.
Talking to Travis Hancock, a.k.a. Bone from the Mac and Bone Show in Charlotte. Where do you think Dave Canales and Dan Morgan's heads are at right now with Bryce Young? Because when I shake my magic 8 ball and ask where is his ceiling, it says still unclear. Yeah, he's got a number 1 wide receiver for the first time in a while with Tet McMillan, but it's not like his production has really taken a leap compared to years 1 and 2. It seems like his ceiling is still somewhere around 175 yards, 1 touchdown, get you in field goal range 2 or 3 times. As we're coming up to the draft here in a couple of months and looking ahead into 2027, do you think there is still a lot of question marks in Dave and Dan's minds?
Yeah, but there's still time to answer those. You don't have to pick up the option for a while, so you can let this play out another year if you want. They're winning games, and I think for them right now in the immediate, that's all that matters. They're winning games with Bryce, not because of Bryce, and eventually maybe it gets to a point where you wanna put up huge numbers. But I think the way this organization has been for the last decade, I don't think they care what the numbers are. And actually, as a matter of fact, the game where Bryce threw for over 300 yards was against Arizona. So the formula actually has been, the lower the numbers and Bryce manages the situation, they seem to be better. I think it's cutting down on the turnovers and the silly turnovers and the silly plays is the most important thing that goes above and beyond the numbers. The random drop fumble, the interceptions in the end zone, and not getting out of bounds and getting like DJ Jazzy Jeff all the way across the Packers bench the other day when he kind of lollygagged out of bounds. Like it's all the silly plays to get rid of. I think they're hoping that the numbers are there. But I think for right now, this regime just wants to keep Tepper happy by winning football games, and down the line they'll try to figure it out. But certainly a lot of questions remain with Bryce Young in that next contract.
Bone, it's interesting you bring that up. Are we leaving the territory that you've talked about, I'm sure, on your show multiple times on Mac and Bone, that Diesel and I have talked about multiple times? I kind of went back and forth with Mark Schlereth last year about this when it comes to what I call this double-edged sword of, yes, you want to win games, but if you also want really good draft picks, you have to be bad. You have to either choose to be good or choose to be bad. I brought it up to Mark Schlereth. He said, no, Cole, you're a freaking idiot. You want to win. You want to have a winning culture, and I totally get that. But my question is for you, are we leaving the territory? Is it now in the rearview mirror of that conversation of the Carolina Panthers just needing to be bad for good draft picks? Maybe that this new territory that we're arriving in is the Panthers actually contending for a division, as crazy as that sounds.
Yeah, normally, like, I'm with you where sometimes it doesn't matter just to get into the playoffs and have a one-off. I think this team is not trying to just get in and be one of those teams. They're trying. That's why they didn't make a lot of trades yesterday. They're not just going for it for 1 year, make any trades at all, I should say. They're just wanting to be consistently in, because it's been such a long time since they were consistently good. So I think there are times when you go, yeah, is this worth it for a franchise to get in? I think for this team, it is, because it's been such a slog, such a long ride to this point. How many rebuilds have they gone through? If this was the first rebuild, I would say, yeah, I mean, I get it, but I think they just want to give this fan base some happiness and at any cost. But I get it. I don't want this to be they get in and then they get smoked out of there and then they're not back. I want them to get in, but for it to mean something. I want them to build off of that. And it's going to be interesting when we talk about the playoffs, because at 5-4 with New Orleans and Atlanta coming up, I think you have to start talking about the possibility. Schedule tough when you've got Tampa twice, Seattle, the Rams, and the Niners outside of the games I just mentioned. So what's going to be the better path to get in? Is it going to be the wild card with all those teams in the North vying for those spots? The West is loaded up. Seattle's really good. Obviously, the Niners and the Rams. Or do you hope that Tampa falls back to earth and you can catch them in the South? Tampa has New England, Indianapolis, and Buffalo the next 3 games. Then it gets easier for them. But if there's ever a time to maybe possibly catch them and make those 2 games at the end against Tampa really, truly matter, Panthers have to keep winning. And maybe this is the stretch here, these 3 games where the Buccaneers, do they lose 2 out of 3? So a very interesting time in the South. If Tampa rolls through this, there's no chance. When you have those 3 games in a row with all those injuries, maybe Tampa comes back to earth just enough and the Panthers can be in the mix in the South.
Bone, can you give us a vibe check among those Carolina Panthers fans? I tune in and I watch the games on TV, and I hear a lot of noise when the Carolina Panthers are on offense, which means a lot of tickets inside of that stadium went to fans of the visiting teams. I don't know if we're going to see that this weekend with the Saints coming to town, because they're just plain awful. But from your perspective, from right there in the heart of Charlotte, how are the fans kind of reacting to this little mini run? Are they cautiously optimistic? Are they starting to become a little bit bullish? Are they going to be selling off a lot of their tickets to anybody who will buy them?
It's a little bit split, and it's a little bit complicated at the moment because it's getting better, but then we're not far off from the Buffalo debacle where they got blown out a couple of weeks ago. But then, they return home this week after a huge win. So if they would have gotten blown out by Green Bay, which I anticipated they would, it would have been back to the woe is us, fire everybody. But it's very week to week right now. Like the post-Buffalo week was like, I got to be honest with you, it wasn't going well over here. And then this past week was like the opposite, where last week the negative people had their run, like Bryce is done, Bryce is cooked, Dave Canales is, but so all the negatives came out, and now this week all the extreme positives came out that, you know, this team is they may never lose again. So it's been very split. I do anticipate this week probably being positive again because of New Orleans just rookie quarterback, the hype after beating Green Bay. But the way this team goes, New Orleans seems doable, but like they play Atlanta in a couple weeks, beat them 30-0 the first time. But Atlanta's also very up and down, more down lately. But this, you know, I wouldn't be surprised if the roller coaster comes back down towards the grass. So, I mean, it's very week to week. It can be extreme highs and extreme lows. And I got to tell you, it's exhausting me right now. I'm very, very tired.
You sound like it, man. I can tell. I can tell in your voice.
Yeah.
Hey, Ball, let me ask you this big picture question. Does what's happened in Indianapolis give Panther fans hope? Should it give Panther fans hope from the sense of, guys, this is a Colts franchise that was a laughingstock just a couple of short days ago, it felt like, with Anthony Richardson and that debacle. And now you get Daniel Jones. And everybody predicted Daniel Jones going into Indy being the best quarterback in 2025, right? Everybody thought that was going to happen. And then you say, oh, when you have a good roster and you can play solid defense and you can run the ball, you can go get a Daniel Jones and plug him in. And then, oh, by the way, you can go get a Sauce Gardner and be a Super Bowl contender. Does that formula kind of give Panther fans hope if Bryce isn't the long-term option 5 years down the road?
Well, yeah, it's been sort of the trend lately is the quarterbacks that move around that were high draft choices that, you know, they land in the right spot, right coaches, right time, they succeed. Daniel Jones, the example. But the issue with that for Panthers and Panther fans is, we've been going through this for so long. They tried to rectify Sam Darnold, and other teams have.
Yeah.
They tried to fix Baker Mayfield, and the division rival has. So we've actually tried this before, and it's possible. Like, who's the next Daniel Jones? Because it feels now like there's always another one coming, whether it's Darnold, Mayfield, Jones. Like, who's the next guy that just needs to change the scenery? Maybe it's Bryce off the Panthers somewhere. That's a possibility too, by the way, that Bryce goes somewhere and finds his way. Who knows? But yeah, no, it's certainly with the way that the Colts are playing and how, you know, they're built with the offensive line and Jonathan Taylor. And no, I think that's a great example. And it's funny that you bring up the Colts because we also ask a lot, can the Hornets be the Pacers a lot?
Yeah.
So it's almost like we just want to be Indianapolis. We want that St. Elmo's Steakhouse. We just want to be them at times. I guess. We're always trying to be them. And by the way, the Hornets really haven't really been the Pacers, but that's for a different interview, I guess. Yeah.
Talking to Travis Hancock, you know him as Bone from the Mac and Bone Show. You mentioned it there a few minutes ago about the Carolina Panthers not doing anything at the trade deadline. There was, you know, talk about Asante Samuel coming in and looking around and kicking the tires on things, but ultimately they didn't make any moves before that trade deadline. Do you see nothing happening at the deadline as clear and undisputable evidence that the flag is being planted, draft and develop, get younger, and not go after guys that are going to be, you know, half a season rent of players or maybe 1 year guys?
Yeah, maybe it's just not time yet. They do appear like maybe they're ahead of their own schedule. And from what we've heard internally, that they didn't really expect to win a whole lot this year inside the building, that this was kind of the year before they expected improvements in the win column, but they're getting them now. So we've seen that before too, where teams try to rush it that, oh, we're ahead of schedule. So I commend the front office. You know, you'll have plenty of time in the offseason. They got $30 million as of now in cap money to mess with. And of course, their draft choices and whatever they want to do. They're not paying the quarterback, that top dollar money. So they've got some things they can do there. So I think it's just stay the course. If they keep winning throughout this season, then maybe they go a little bit above what they want to in the offseason. But I think it's the right mindset. We've seen teams before we talked a minute ago about, hey, let's not just make this a 1 year cameo in the postseason. Let's not just go all in, trade, sign players, and go get it. The Hornets, again, I'll mention them. They've done that a lot here where they try to go for it for one season, then they get stuck with like, a random dude, and it's like, oh, that's all right, he's still here.
Yeah.
So you don't want to like have that happen. So I think it's just stay the course. You're ahead of schedule. Don't rush it. And we've been through this for a long time now. I don't think a few more months of staying the course like this is going to hurt. So I think that was the right call. And then in the offseason, we'll see where this team is at and where the money can go.
Bone, as we let you go, you will be at the bank Sunday. Where can a guy that has never met Bone and Cole Bryson, I've been on your show, you've been on my show, where and how can I meet Bone Sunday? We got to make it happen.
See, this is a trick question because all these people want to run me out of there. So you want me you want me to tell you exactly where I'm going to be so I get jumped in the alley.
How'd you know?
We have the WFNZ Doghouse, a tailgating spot right across
That's right.
the street from the stadium. So depending on the mood of the locals there towards me, I'll probably be hanging out there somewhere in that neighborhood. I'll be wearing the Bryce Young jersey.
Okay,
I'll be wearing that.
So if I get there early, I have to leave Spartanburg pretty early to get to beat the traffic to get up in the press box in time. If I get there early, park, get squared away, come over to the WFNZ tailgate. How's that?
Do that, man. By the way, can I say, we missed Spartanburg, our yearly trip there for training camp. I miss, man, Spartanburg. I miss the two Krispy Kremes near each other. I miss, man, the camaraderie of. I'm being serious. I used to enjoy that. There was something special about training camp for us going down to Spartanburg. I don't miss the heat because I almost died once, but like I really honestly enjoyed going to Spartanburg. I miss being down there.
We miss it too, man. Appreciate you as always, Bone. We'll see you soon.
All right, man. Take care, guys.
Travis Hancock of the Mac and Bone Show on WFNZ. Good stuff talking Carolina Panthers. Diesel audio from Chipper Jones on the Walt Weiss Hire in Atlanta. A lot of Braves fans have had mixed emotions on that. Well, this audio from Chipper Jones might make you feel better. We'll have it next.
your fan phone. This is Wire to Wire with Diesel and Cole on the Fan Upstate.
Well, you know, Diesel, everybody's mad that Walt Weiss was hired to be the manager for the Atlanta Braves. But maybe, just maybe, all you need is a little reassurance from the GOAT, Chipper Jones. What he say when it comes to Walt Weiss? We'll react to this audio from Chipper. Maybe. I'm sorry. Let me try that again. It's not. This is on me. Don't fuss at the end studio. All you Tolos out there, don't be mad at John. This is on that stuff. Maybe.
Blame the producer.
That's right. We always blame the producer, but the audio's not wanting to cooperate. Maybe we'll get the audio back. I'll try to send it to John.
While you're figuring that out, want to remind our Tolos that the Upset Picks Challenge is live. Need your picks for week number 11. Go to ESPN.com. Find a game where you think the underdog wins outright, and then text us at 844-FAN-PHONE, your name, your game, and the spread.
Hey, we had a pretty good turnout so far, right?
Good start. Off to a good start. Still want to hit around that 50 to 60 mark by the end of the show today. That means Tolos, get in your upset picks. One of the most popular so far has been Cole's pick. You had BYU over Texas Tech. BYU 10.5-point road dog.
You like it, Dan?
They get that upset. You get 10.5 points. That is a big jump.
We're getting it. We're freaking getting it. Hey, let me give y'all a stat. I've got the audio fixed. The last time Dan B and I both chose the game, it hit SMU, baby.
You're reaching now.
Oh, yeah, we're reaching.
Grasping at straws. Keith and TR says he'll take South Carolina plus 12.5 over the bye week.
Also, you've got to have a little bit of hope in this thing. You got to have a little bit of faith. Here's what Chipper Jones had to say about Walt Weiss. Ooh, that's terrible audio, isn't it? Is that bad?
It sounds really robotic.
Now me and you sound. Dude,
what did you do? What did you do,
John?
Cole?
Do we sound robotic to you?
This is like a radio. This is like a promo. This is a promo.
What just happened? What just?
I am Iron Man.
Who wanted to do that? Diesel, did we sound this way to everybody or just us?
You sound robotic.
We do
Do
sound robotic.
do the scene from Bane. Can you do that?
Do you
All right,
Understand, this is more entertaining than just
John,
a normal thing.
here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to forward you this audio and have you play it, and Diesel and I are going to reconnect with the Comrex. I don't know what happened, but let me know, John, when you get the audio that I just sent to you of Chipper Jones. We sound like robots all of a sudden. What do we do? Why don't we sound robotic? Dan B's telling us we sound like robots on Odyssey. Yeah, we're going to fix it. I think it's a connection issue. We're going to disconnect from the Comrex. We are on location. John, did you get that audio? John, let me know when you did on your email. Fire that off, and we are going to try to get a better connection for the third hour of the show, because we've got Bill Bender coming up, more upset picks. We've got to hear a story about a baseball. I'm excited for that. Did you get the audio, John?
It's like an episode of Seinfeld that we're being set up for.
I
Somebody spit on him from a direction he doesn't know where it came from.
Yeah.
Wow.
I got the email. Not
Do you
the
see
audio.
the link when you scroll down, John? This is great
link.
radio.
Okay.
Yeah, there's a link. And see if you can play that. And again, I want to get to this Chipper Jones audio, and then Diesel and I are going to get our audio fixed. All kind of audio issues on location at Ingalls. But we are going to get it fixed, John, as soon as you have it fired off, and we'll be right back in just a few minutes.
I got it.
All right, let's hear
from Chipper Jones.
Man, Chipper Jones. Didn't realize it was going to be this difficult.
Didn't realize he had that kind of reach.
Make sure it's not muted on the video, but other than that, John, you should be good. Good or no? Let us know. Is it playing?
It's playing.
All right.
Mark is clear.
All right. Do you hear the audio? So I'm going to turn this off too. This probably doesn't help either, that it's all tangled like that.
Oh, yeah, that's
Let's do this. Let's unplug.
yeah,
this.
we after a restart, it still sounds the same.
robotic.
Yeah. Is it disconnection here by chance? That it's starting when you try to. It is that.
So is that port maybe?
Could be.
Okay, listen. And now it doesn't. Does it still sound robotic like earlier? Though? All right, John, we're back. Mine sounds better though than it did the first segment with my headset. It doesn't have that reverb.
No, and it was. I think it's off of this.
Was I liking that?
It's not like that input.
Really?
Yeah, that's interesting. That's going to mess up the stream.
Well, we'll just keep it down.
That's what feeds the stream, right?
Well, these are.
Oh,
That's just the audio that I play back to the computer.
okay.
So, John,
Played it, and I went to
yeah, you're
commercial.
good. Good job.
So
weird.
that to me says it's creating some kind of a feedback.
Sorry. It's not doing it now.
What do we hear too? Oh, that's
Trying to get this thing. There we go. Hey, can you take wide orbit 1 out of utility for a second, John? That's not right now. I don't know what. Isn't that weird? Okay. Is that loud enough?
Yeah.
I'm not gonna touch it. All right, I'm gonna close this out.
okay.
All right, John, you can put it back. Sorry.
Thank you.
Okay.
We think we've got it fixed.
That was weird.
I don't know. It's just something about the input it didn't like. Like I said, it sounds fine now. I don't know.
Yeah.
Do you need to do the GXP5 or do you have it?
You might. I think
I'll do it.
There's a lot on the line in divorce. This is Joe Cordell of Cordell and Cordell.
Take out that wire-to-wire promo. We'll put this in instead.
Over 35 years of helping clients navigate divorce. Divorce touches all areas.
I
of
wish you
life.
could see
Home, savings,
me do it in
retirement,
real
and, of
time
course, kids.
on here.
So when you find yourself facing divorce,
There's screen
you need
record
a partner.
options. It's
Yeah,
just,
it's just a lot of
and
work.
Contact Cordell and Cordell today at 1-855-GET.
Once you see what the waveform looks like every time, it's easy to spot.
Right now, when you buy more carpet at the Home Depot, you save more. During our Buy More, Save More event going on now. Upgrade your carpeting with top brands, then let us install it for you.
All right,
Prices starting
it's there.
at 49 cents
Okay.
per square foot. Select from a wide assortment of carpet to fit your room, lifestyle, and budget during the Buy More, Save More event at the Home Depot. Offer valid October 16th through November 7th.
Hey, Jay, I shared that spreadsheet with you earlier today with the Burns basketball stuff. What do you mean? It sounds like she's going to put orders in for it. Devin is. Yeah. Yes. Bridget is helping do it. She's saying that she's going to use it to show kind of Bridget how to do it, since it's just small, easy stuff. Only thing I don't understand is, so like, see here on this spreadsheet. So you got this thing. The one that came over was that one. So Sports Network. So at least it wasn't one of those big ass notebooks. You never got all these. You could say that progressioncommercial.com. So when he didn't talk to me 4 weeks ago, and he had nothing to do with this. I remember seeing a couple of them was like, man, that's going to be the next one. I realized that. Now, while it's little, it does add up to $7,000. So, and a lot of that has to do with English, $4,000, but we got $3,000 from right here. So we're going to make about $4,000. And then if you throw another, I just came out with a
You've got an interesting artifact that you brought with you.
I do. And I actually, it's kind of funny that I'm telling you the story on the radio. I've told the story to my, family and friends for years, but yeah, this is a really cool little piece. So I'm going to take you back in the Wayback Machine here because I'm a lot older than you guys.
Yeah, you are. By the way.
So
To the 90s.
in the 1900s, I'm taking you way back. 1976, long time ago. I was 16 years old, so you can figure out how old I am.
Yeah. That was BC.
Thank you, BC. Yep. And so I go to, and I'm probably going to tick off all the people who hate the New York Yankees, but this is based around them. So I was growing up upstate New York and was visiting my uncle in the Bronx, New York.
No way.
A lovely suburb. And decided that I was going to go to Yankees Old Timers Day, and on my own, took the subway into Manhattan. It was a nightmare. Anyway, by the way, 1970s New York, quite crime ridden. I'll just leave it
You
at
don't
that.
say.
A little bit of crime going on. So I was a little scared, which kind of fits into this story. So I go to Yankee Stadium. It's Old Timers Day, and I just want to see who I can see by the players' entrance. This is at the old Yankee Stadium, and I'm waiting out there. And the current players are coming by. I'm obviously super excited, and they're coming by. And about halfway into, I was there hours ahead of the game. Here comes Joe DiMaggio walking through the crowd. And of course, literally like the entire everybody outside just started mobbing him. I walked up and I told Diesel earlier, I did the geek thing and just walked up and like touched his back. Like I was like, hey, Joe, like patted him on the back.
That is weird.
Just to say I touched Joe
Wait,
DiMaggio.
Small of his back, the middle of his back.
Actually, I kind of
the weird part of his back.
No, the widest part of his back at the top. Wow, this is getting weird.
It did get weird. Yeah.
So after I touched Joe, about 10 minutes later came another guy you might have heard of. His name was Mickey Mantle. Yeah, so he came by, and of course he was my childhood hero. I still have my 1969 Mickey Mantle baseball card in mint condition. I think it's worth a few dollars.
Wow.
But anyway, so same thing. So I pat Mickey on the back because I was 16. I don't know what else to do. So that was that. And then all the players went by, and all of a sudden it was kind of dwindling down a little bit. And then up comes this kid. Now he was about my age. And he comes up, and my first thought is, oh man, this kid's going to hustle me. He's going to try to get money out of me. Something bad's about to happen here. And this is probably the life lesson on this story. So this kid comes up and he goes, hey, how you doing? I said, oh, I'm good. He goes, yeah, my name's Chris. And immediately I'm thinking, this kid is going to figure out a way to get my wallet out of my pocket. Something really bad's going to happen. We're in the Bronx, right? And he says, yeah, I'm Mickey Rivers' godson. Now, Mickey Rivers at the time was playing center field for the Yankees, and he was like also one of my heroes. And I thought this kid was totally full of it. And I'm listening to him, letting him talk. And he says, yeah, I know all the players. And I'm like, I'm still thinking this is all BS. So I'm waiting, and all of a sudden I turn around, and walking towards me is Billy Martin, who was the manager of the Yankees at the time. This Billy Martin walks directly up to this kid as I'm standing there. I'm literally like a foot from Billy Martin. And he walks up to this kid and he goes, hey, Chris. And I'm like, oh, God, he actually knows his name. He goes, Chris. He goes, get me a can of Vienna sausage for seventh inning stretch. That's all I heard Billy Martin say. And I looked and he goes, okay, man, I got you. And Billy Martin walks through the player's entrance. And now I'm like, oh my God, this kid's like really telling the truth. So he says, hey, listen, and a couple other players come by and they acknowledge him. And he says, hey, listen, he goes, I'm going to go into the stadium. I'll see what I can grab you, which I had no idea what that meant. So he leaves, and it's like an hour. Like I'm seeing all the players still coming in.
Yeah.
And, I'm seeing their cars. It was just, I was like totally Yankee geeked out. So all of a sudden, like an hour later, and it's still like a good hour before the game.
Yeah.
This kid comes back out, and he literally walks up to me, hands me this
So
ball. Oh, I'm
you got it
sorry.
on the
Yeah.
screen,
Oh,
yeah.
wow. Hi.
Yeah.
Hands me this ball and says, hey, man, I got to go. And that's literally the last time I saw this kid.
Ever?
Hands me the ball, doesn't ask me for anything, and just disappears.
You never seen him again.
Never saw him again. But there is a follow-up to that. So I haven't even looked at the ball yet. He literally just this is an American League baseball. Like he got this from the dugout, whatever, brand new in 1976. Hands me the ball, and I look down at it, and I thought I was going to have a stroke. On one sweet spot, Joe DiMaggio.
No way.
On the other sweet spot, Mickey Mantle.
No way.
Yeah, on the same ball. And then he grabbed whoever else was down in the dugout. Phil Rizzuto, very famous. He's on this ball. Hank Bauer, huge Yankee guy. Bill Skowron, some of these names you might not know. Elliot Maddox was a current player for the Yankees at the time. Anyway, so I get this ball. Now I'm in the Bronx, crime-ridden Bronx. And I literally am like, what am I going to do with this ball? Like, I have this like unbelievable thing.
Yeah.
So I stick it in my jeans, and I've got this like ball wad, in my right pocket, and I'm walking around going, oh my God, someone's going to see this. So I walk into the where all the now I'm in the stadium, and I go to the garbage can because that's where you go. And there was someone had eaten one of those little ice cream containers.
Yeah.
So I literally gutted out the ice cream container and got some napkins and stuck this ball in it, and then like hid it under my shirt for the rest. And then I had to get back on the subway into the
Why
Bronx.
don't you just put it in your pants?
I don't know if you ever go look at 70s fashion. People wore really tight jeans back then, and I was 16, so I don't think there was a lot of room in my pants. Wow.
If you needed any more proof that people were built different in
Yes.
the 70s, Billy Martin was eating a can of Vienna sausages in the 7th inning and could hold it in for 3 more innings of a ball game. Wow.
But anyway,
That's incredible.
it's a great story, and the ball is
That's
it's
a
a beautiful.
story. So the kid, you never
Saw him again. Now I will say this: about 5 years ago, I reached out to Mickey Rivers, who's still alive. Found him on something because I literally wanted to say, "Hey, Mickey, by the way, I don't know this guy, but this guy claimed to be your your godson. His name was Chris. Told him the whole story, and my little never got a response back. But it was fun to reach out to him.
Chris.
Yeah, Chris. Who
He stole that ball from the clubhouse and told Jay Wilson that I'm the godson of this
that
guy.
might have been why he just handed it to me and ran. He just stole it, right?
They've been looking for that ball to use it for 54 years. It was supposed to be on some kind of, shelf.
Anyway,
And it's in South Carolina.
Off Dennis Leary's shelf and went out and played
That's
ball
right.
with it.
Wow. Little did they know it'd be in Bowling Springs, the
There
Ingles,
you go.
56 years. What year was that?
and I'm actually leaving now because I think someone's driving here to steal it.
How fast
1976. So 49 years ago. There we go.
49 years ago. And you were how old? You
I
said
was 16.
16 years old.
So I'm like 100.
Yeah. That's incredible, though. Joe DiMaggio and Mickey Mantle
On the same ball.
two of the best Yankees ever. I mean, and there's a lot of Yankee fans in the upstate because of the Yankees being the team that everybody believes in. That's a great story. Now, let me ask you this: have you ever had that ball? That's what I was about to ask. How much do you think? How much do you think that you could get?
I have no idea. And you know what's funny? I have a son, and he has, and my
Heard this one before.
neither one of them have any interest in sports. So I don't know what, I'm going to have to find, maybe one of my grandkids will get this. I don't know. Or maybe I'll just get old and sell it one day, Who knows?
So how much do you how much money can you stand to have?
Oh my gosh. It just drops out of my pocket.
If you had to guess,
Can you pick up that 100 there?
Yeah.
I just fell out of my pocket.
Dan B, who's here at Ingles.
Wow.
Yes. How much?
$1,000? 500. Really? I don't think so.
You think it's that high?
Nah, I don't.
If it is, you
know
better
what I
sell
think?
it tonight.
The story is. I love the story, but the story's always been my favorite.
So the story, if you just tuned in, some random kid that was sneaking in the clubhouse that wasn't supposed to be there, bamboozled Jay Wilson, one of our account executives, into believing he was the grandson of
Mickey Rivers.
I'm sorry, godson of Mickey Rivers. I don't know. I was going to guess.
Couple thousand. Yeah.
According to AI, a Mickey Mantle autograph could be worth $500 to $8,000. So
Right.
there's obviously a
Big
big
range.
range.
Yep.
And you
And
throw
in
it.
fact, Montreal, and they're on the same ball.
Well, I think that's the key. Now, Mickey Mantle, in his later years, I mean, he's, he was one of the guys that went to the shows and just signed until his arm fell off.
Oh, never mind.
Before there was auto pit.
You can buy a Joe DiMaggio signed ball, and you can buy a Mickey Mantle signed ball. I don't know if there's many that both of them sign.
All right, so here's listen to this.
Yeah, and I may be totally wrong.
On eBay right now.
Yeah,
There's
seven.
There's a Babe Ruth.
Okay, that's
And
a
that's
different,
big time.
That's a different
Big time.
animal. Yeah,
Mickey Mantle, Joe DiMaggio
on the same ball.
on the same ball.
Oh my God.
54,000.
Well, I can tell you what 53,000 of that is.
Babe Ruth.
Babe Ruth. Yeah,
There's no doubt.
yeah, that's crazy.
All right,
How did they get? Wow.
Now here,
Oh, okay. So someone maybe had a Babe Ruth ball, and then
they got Joe.
yeah,
Mickey.
yeah.
So Dan is here, and he's looking at one listed with Mickey Mantle and Joe DiMaggio on it.
Yep.
Baseball, about $5,000.
Does that say Walmart up there at the top? What is that? Walmart.
That's crazy.
So Walmart has it. Oh, you
I was looking at early retirement. Oh my God, I'm looking at the end of my career here.
Oh, you can sell on through Walmart like eBay. I didn't know that.
Wow.
This one I'm looking at is $2,400, 2,000.
Oh wow.
Texas
like that.
says
Yeah.
it's worth $5,000.
That's all right.
$15 on Pawn Stars.
Here, let's double check. Let's see if it's
Dewey's Pawn Shop. Take it to Dewey's.
yeah.
Take it
Okay.
to Dewey's
That's
Pawn
how
Shop.
Yeah.
we do call in.
We do.
Oh, I just realized this
Wait,
says.
How much would you
That
pay
Dewey
for
or Dewey?
I just realized this says Jim DiMaggio. So maybe it's not real. I'm sorry, I told you that whole story. Oh, and Mikey Mantle. Oh my God. The whole
He's
thing.
just trying to get out. He's trying to get out of here without.
He is.
Yeah,
You had me for like 2 seconds. You did. You had me for
But
2
that would
seconds.
have been a fun segment. I tell the whole story and then tell you it's fake.
And
That's real.
Baby Ruth is signed by
Hey.
some lady.
Now, who put this in? Who put the case? Did you do the case?
Yeah, after the ice cream container, it was a little better.
Oh, that's
it was an upgrade.
A little bit nicer. I'll make you a deal right now on it.
Oh,
Here we go. Live on air. $80.
80 bucks.
$80, yes or
And,
no?
and a sub from Ingles.
We were gonna go Chinese. From
Yeah, I got a couple $5 gift cards here.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I'm telling you, I know the ball's probably worth some money, but I love the story because it's such a unique story.
the story is.
It's a crazy story.
That you're right. The memory that you still remember it, I was
Oh
assuming.
God, like it was yesterday. Yeah,
The
because it was
experience.
so iconic. Yeah,
$1,000 right now, yes or no?
I'll keep it.
Oh, you don't
Thank
have
you, though.
$1,000.
Yeah, right. What are you
I
talking
don't
about?
want to talk more for radio.
Anyway, yeah, it's a great piece.
$1,000 for my other job.
I call that my
Radio
prized
job.
possession. I don't own anything else that's that cool. I have nothing else.
You know what though? All kidding aside, unless you're like a diehard Yankees fan,
Yeah,
I would much rather keep it because of the story. To
yeah,
your point,
yeah.
and you
You
know,
sentimental value.
yeah, it's the sentimental value.
Yeah,
And some kid lied to you and said it was the Godfather. I wouldn't like. I'm a baseball fan, but I wouldn't be. I think you would have to be a diehard Yankees fan.
Oh yeah, yeah.
You know what I mean?
Dewey's offer is $65.
Dewey from Dewey's Pawn Shop.
Different Dewey.
Oh, okay.
More than one Dewey.
Because Dewey's Pawn Shop, he's got money.
Yeah. It's a different Dewey.
Maybe
right.
I'll swap a gun with him or something.
Yeah.
There you go.
That is probably, all kidding aside, probably worth $2,000.
Yeah, I would say so.
You
Yeah,
think so?
yeah. And Phil, by the way, in New York, Phil Rizzuto is another guy that's like a god. So, but again, it's a random look. There's probably people that were there that day that got balls signed by
And
every
that kid
single-
told 904 people
This was
that he was the godson.
Yeah,
Does
absolutely.
having autographs from players that didn't go on to have phenomenal,
Like
careers
making
like
it
that,
go.
does that devalue a ball? Like having you named a couple of players that I
Yeah,
never heard
yeah.
of.
I mean, Hank Bauer was a huge home run hitter for the Yankees.
Yeah.
I think it depends. I think what's interesting to me is that I'm 65 years old. At some point, guys. I mean, you guys are way younger than me. Guys that are coming up that are 20, they don't give a crap about. So what's the value going to be in 20 years?
And
Well, they're
you're
going to be
right.
valued.
I think we can take.
What does Joe DiMaggio mean to some?
Well, you're right. I was joking about the 1,000. I'll be honest with you. I wouldn't give you.
500.
I wouldn't. Personally,
Yeah.
even though I
Couple
love,
$100.
I wouldn't give you a couple $100 for it.
Well, you know what? I'm taking it home.
No, and that just
No,
kinda
I know
proves your
because
point,
your
though.
value
It's-
to it doesn't mean anything.
It doesn't mean anything.
And the only reason, look, if I had money and bought a Joe DiMaggio Mickey and I had $5,000 to buy it, it wouldn't mean anything.
I'd
I'd just be like, okay, I'll sell this someday.
Yeah. That's
So
interesting.
this is very personal.
Everybody's got like,
Yes.
sports collectibles. We have a lot of
100%.
listeners who have sports collectibles who, it might be, 80 or 90 Chicago Bulls
Right.
stuff, and you've got 10 things autographed by
Yeah.
Michael Jordan and autographed by Scottie Pippen and whoever, Horace Grant. But to a kid coming up now who's
Right.
infatuated with LeBron James,
Yeah.
the Jordan era Bulls might not mean a whole lot.
No.
So it might not mean
100%.
much. It's like if you're going to sell it, you better sell it while the selling's good.
If do I have another second? Because I want.
You have
So
yes.
here's
Reaction.
here's another example. So if you guys want to look this up someday, Eddie Feiner, softball extraordinaire. This guy could pitch blindfolded from second base.
Wow.
And through smoke. And he did this into his 70s. Feiner is like Fieegner or something. And he was called the king, and it was called the King and His Court. And it was the most amazing thing I saw. And I went to see this when I was like 14, 15 years old. And we went down to the field. I have Eddie Feiner's autograph. Means absolutely nothing because I'm seeing you guys are like, who the hell is Eddie Feiner? To me, though, it was a moment with my dad. You know, so you're right. Autographs are, you know, it can be very personal. And there's a lot of people that just buy, sell stuff.
And I also think autographs, for whatever reason, mean less today than they did 25 years ago. You know?
I've got a million autographs. You know, I worked for a big syndicated radio show for a long time. I have hundreds of autographs of famous people, and I'm literally looking at them like, well,
What do
my
you
kids
care?
don't care about this yet.
Yeah.
You know,
That's interesting. That's interesting. I think
so-
autographs, I don't know what the reason is, but you feel like, Dan, would you agree?
I think it's because we have more access to celebrities and
Yeah,
sports
you
figures
can
than
get
we've
it
ever
now.
had
Yeah.
before. You can go get it, or you know, you just on your phone. You can read things that they wrote moment by moment every day, so it kind of demystifies the person.
And I'll tell you again, because of my age, when I was a kid, Joe Namath was one of my heroes, right?
Yeah.
I literally remember writing a letter as a kid, and I still have it. I wrote a letter. This is what I wrote: Joe Namath, Beaver Falls, Pennsylvania. Somehow I got the zip code. I was like, 12 years old. And I sent a letter: Dear Joe, can you please send me your autograph? I mean, this is like old school, right?
Old
And
school.
believe it or not, like 3 months later, here comes Joe Namath. And it was one of those auto signed, it wasn't his, but I'm telling you, as a 12-year-old, Joe Namath was, had won the Super Bowl. It was like the greatest thing ever to
And what
arrive
was
in
the
the
name
mail.
of the show, the syndicated show? Subtitles out there, Mike.
John Boy and Billy.
Yeah, they would
Yeah.
know
They've
that.
been around
Yeah.
for a while.
Until what, December? Is that right?
They're done at the end of this year.
Our sister station, the first station
For very,
syndicated.
and I was with them when we added our first syndicated station, which was WROQ. That's right.
Which character did you play on?
I actually was. I played a white guy rapper for a while, and then I got kicked off the show. I was Enema M. And I got kicked off. They let me write whatever I wanted, and it was getting a little risque. And then one day I did a rap about NASCAR, and Billy of John Boy and Billy, he would start the beat for me, and then I'd start rapping. And it was something about wedge in the rear.
Oh my God.
And that was the last time I ever did that. Johnny kind of looked at me and was like, yeah, we're done with this character. But that was, I have a few of those. I'll have to find those for you guys. Play them for you one day.
That's good stuff.
Yeah, Enema M. That was my
Not what I thought I would hear today on the show.
Oh, wait. Do I have another second?
You got one more second.
All right, one more second. I knew Steph Curry when he was
you
5
told
years
me about
old.
his
Yes.
dad's brother?
Yep.
What is that?
So Jackie Curry is on the John Boy and Billy show. Her brother is Del Curry, which means that Steph Curry is her nephew.
That's her
And
nephew.
they used to bring Steph and Seth. They used to all come by. Sidel, his sister. They used to come by the station when they were like 5 years old. We had to like kick them out of our office. We're like, get these kids out of our office. And so it's kind of cool for me now to see, to watch the NBA and go, that kid used to, rifle through my garbage cans.
Can you give us a little?
Anyway.
No. Nico, can you give us a little?
What do you need?
Little beat.
Oh,
Enema M.
Yeah.
Yo, my name. It was like that.
I didn't know what was about to happen.
Yeah. I can't do it.
Oh, that's good stuff.
Hey.
Bill Bender, These Sporting News, next on the Fan Upstate.
3663. Keep them coming throughout the last hour and a half or so of the show. Let's talk college football right now with Bill Bender of the Sports News. He joins the show every single Wednesday. Bill, what was your initial reaction to the ACC finding Dabo Swinney $10,000 for calling that OPI or DPI to be the worst call he's ever seen? We got the SEC out there firing referees for making bad calls, and the ACC is extravagant to take Dabo.
Probably it's in the walls there, and that's what happened. So, not a good reaction to it. I think Dabo gave the story on Saturday, but I don't know. You guys tell me what the mood is. I don't know what the mood is that way.
The temperature's not great as we're joined by Bill Bender right here on the Fan Update. So glad to have you on the show, Bill. Always appreciate you. It's cold here. When you look at the situation, we'll start with that. And you mentioned the temperature that is increasing when you talk about the temperature around the program and around Dabo Swinney's seat as well. I think it's a common narrative that most people believe Dabo's safe and Dabo's going to be given a shot to get Clemson back on track. But in your time covering college football, from a national perspective, do you feel like Dabo being given the chance to get this program back on track is contradictory to the new era of college football that we're in, where it's not about what you've done for me in the past, it's more about what have you done for me lately?
Yeah, and that's fine. I think that's good. I mean, again, it's going to be
Bill, what are you hearing now? We've now had a couple of weeks almost. It feels like forever since Florida and State moved on their head coaches. LSU is obviously the same. There's all kinds of big big jobs all over the place. What are you hearing sort of back channel stuff about who LSU, Florida, Penn State might be targeting now that some of the biggest names are being locked up by the schools that currently employ them with more lucrative deals?
And if people would do I mean, I'm not putting that one. LSU, and you know, you're that way through the stuff. I don't think LSU that way. Zero in on
You think it's a foregone conclusion after what, the Brian Kelly situation and them ultimately not liking a guy that came down from up north, and we know how a lot of people in the South feel about people from up north. Do you think it's a foregone conclusion that whoever takes the job at LSU will, at minimum have some kind of SEC experience and ties, or you think they're going to kind of buck that trend and go national again, even though they may net them another coach not from the Southeast, not fancy?
they won. But I mean, I'm drafting so well as long as they work hard. And I talked to Jacob Hester last week on the LSU quarterback, kind of the embodiment of well, right? Player, and he was the last three based on I don't care. No, he's from Ohio. Nick Saban. I get your point. You know, you got to be careful. I understand that, but to me, it doesn't matter. It's my
We're talking to Bill Bender of The Sporting News. Bill, I was going to ask you about this when we brought you on, but I got sidetracked. Did you see on Twitter over the weekend where I was reading a thread and it was involved, I think it was a repost from you that somehow I was looking at Brett McMurphy's tweets as well, where somebody called Bill Bender Buckeye Bill. Are you okay with being referred to as Buckeye Bill?
I don't care. I mean, so
is that the narrative?
You can call me a big fan homer. I don't care. Like that, I will come for the homer, but realistic. Like,
Yes.
I've been here.
Yeah.
Am I saying that the Big Ten should get like 7 playoff teams? No. I do think Ohio State's the best team in the country.
No, I did too.
And I don't think it's like it's going to throw Indiana. You don't want to do it. It's 4 weeks. So I respect that, but but I'm from Ohio.
You're right. Bill, I know how the Hancock fans in our audience answer this question, but in your opinion, is Mike Shorter's career as a play caller in college football over? Or would you predict that Mike at 60 years old might get another chance somewhere else? Is that NFL experience going to be valuable enough to give him one more shot at it?
Maybe. I think maybe. You never say this. I think 60. Whoever there's a lot of great.
There are. Speaking of great coaches that didn't win a national title, Bill, there were a lot of people believing that Hugh Freeze could bring Auburn a national title. However, that quickly. Your reaction to the Hugh Freeze news over the weekend? Where does Hugh end up? What direction do you feel like Auburn should go? Bill, still a lot of football to go. You know, these teams will have 4 weeks, but a lot can change in that time. But with the new first college football playoff ranking
beating out. Who right now kind of sits in your mind as, on the positive side of the benefit of the doubt if it came down to them being in that 9, 10, 11, the 13 range as being a team that still would get enough benefit of the doubt to really be interested in that conversation, and who just kind of hasn't done enough, even if their record right now looks pretty good.
Well, I think Utah has limited upside where they're at because they already lost that deal. They're going to need help to do more. They might get in. I guess 10 teams that are all clumped together. One I've been saying all day. Keep an eye on Washington. Their schedule's set up. If you go 10-2, I still think 10-2 is kind of the minimum ante to get in. And if you can get to 10, you're in good shape. But I think some of these teams, there might be a 10-2 team that gets left out. One very interesting 9-3 team to me, potential 9-3 team would be Texas. The Longhorns, let's say they split with Texas A&M. Lost to Ohio State, 1-4 loss at Florida, have beat 2 top 10 teams. I think Texas is the most interesting team in the rankings.
Bill Bender, The Sporting News. You can give him a follow on Twitter, on X at BillBender92. When you look at the 12-team college football playoff bracket projection, Bill, Memphis playing Georgia 12-5, Oregon, Texas Tech a 9-8, Virginia 11-6 versus Ole Miss, and a 10-7 with Notre Dame and BYU. Alabama at 4, A&M at 3, Indiana at 2, and Ohio State at 1. Of those that we all saw released last night at 8 o'clock with a college football playoff bracket projection, of those teams, give me one that you believe will be looked at as maybe a fraud, but you believe Bill Bender could make a run to a national championship.
Well, I only think there's like 4 teams that can.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Right,
so would you say it's top? You'd say it's top heavy?
Yeah.
Okay.
If you were saying pick who can win actually win the national championship, looking at these 12 teams in the field right now, I would say Ohio State, I would say Alabama, A&M, Indiana, I guess. They did beat Oregon, and then in that 5-12 range, I don't think anybody 5-12 can win at all.
Why did we expand, Bill? Why do we expand? Why do we expand if that's the case? Why do we expand to 12 teams?
Don't yell at me.
Right.
I would go back to the BCS if we could.
Right, and that's kind of my point is, and I agree with you. I've said the same thing for the past couple of years. I agree with your answer of I see 1 through 4. I see 3 teams that could win the national championship. I'm just asking, when you talk, you and I both know why they expanded, because of the dollar and making more dollars. But that's kind of my point the whole time has been, okay, you expanded, but you're still going to be left with the top 4.
Money's always the answer, right?
Right.
And I'm not trying to throw a wet blanket on the 12-team class. I'm just saying that it on any given year in the 15 years that I've covered college football at Sporting News, there have only been 5 or 6 teams that can actually win it.
That's right.
And that's the same case this year. Like, we could make a case for Georgia and say maybe Georgia could win a national title because Kirby has found ways to win close games all year. We can make a case for Notre Dame. Notre Dame lost the first 2 games to, and they lost to Texas A&M. And I'm not sold on Indiana as a national championship team. I think they're really good. I'm really impressed with Cincinnati, but I need to see them play Ohio State. So, I'm glad we get to tell other stories in the 12-team college football playoff. But, let's not pretend like all 12 of those teams have a chance to win it.
Sure.
Bill, we do a segment every Friday. We call it our weekend menu, where if you can only watch one game each time slot, which one sort of demands the most national attention? I'm going to simplify this, or maybe make it harder. It depends on your perspective, and say that you You only get to watch one game all day this coming Saturday. From your national perspective, what is the most compelling game that people have to watch? Is it the 7-8 BYU Texas Tech matchup? Is it A&M Missouri? Is it Oregon Iowa? Maybe even Navy Notre Dame. I know that holds a lot of nostalgia value to a lot of people, but the single most compelling game on Saturday.
I think obviously that matchup between Oregon and Iowa will be a lot of fun. Texas Tech BYU is the best answer because it is a top 10 game. And Tech, when I was talking about national championship contenders, Texas Tech, I was texting back and forth with a good friend over the weekend. I said, well, why don't we just do a playoff with the fourth best SEC and Big Ten teams and call it a day? And then, but as we were talking through it, he's like, nah, this Texas Tech team can do. And I agree with him. They're really good on defense. They're kind of, they spend a ton of NIL money back out there. So they're definitely one of those teams we're keeping an eye on. And that would be the one game I would go.
Bill, as we let you go, your upset pick for this weekend.
I'm going to go Iowa.
Okay.
I don't love it. It's that line's kind of been tripping me up all week. Iowa, Oregon's a good team, and I think Oregon's getting a little undervalued, but they are going to Kinnick. That's a good Iowa defense. I'm wondering if Iowa, they're going to have to generate something in the passing attack, but as we know up here in Big Ten country, Ferentz does it once a year. He pulls one of these, and they almost did it to Indiana, so I know they're going to have Oregon's full attention.
Plus, that weather is supposed to be nasty in Iowa this weekend. Maybe it slows down that Oregon offense.
Yeah, and you never know. Like I said, so I've got that. That one will definitely have my attention. And you said Missouri, Texas A&M would be more interesting.
Yeah.
I want to see how Zollers does with backup quarterback, but I think it's going to be a little bit harder for them to win that game.
No doubt. Bill, you're the best, man. As always, appreciate you, and we'll talk to you next week.
Hey, no problem. Thanks for having me on, guys. This is great.
Thank you, man. Bill Bender, The Sporting News. As I said, make sure you give him a follow on Twitter if you have not done so. Bill is just the best at Bill Bender 92. Again, Bill Bender of The Sporting News.
Don't fans, especially on social media, don't they love to label you as a homer for this team or that team, standing on behalf of a conference? Bill doesn't care. His job is to talk national college football, and he's going to talk about the best teams. If that means you're going to talk about Ohio State over and over and over again, that means everybody else needs to get better and get into the conversation.
Buckeye Bill was what I saw on Twitter this week. I was going to bring him in with that when we brought him in on the interview and just get his live reaction and not joke about it, but maybe not the best thing to do there. He does a tremendous job. He really does.
When we come back, Cole, the South Carolina Gamecocks are off to the races in the season. The question is this a make or break year for Lamont Paris? We'll get into it next.
Asheville Highway in Boiling Springs. Still have a gift card or two, and we are here for another hour if you want to stop by. It's the Springfield location on Asheville Highway right across from Mountain View Prep. Stop by and grab yourself an Ingles gift card. We'd love to give you one.
Cole, how much pressure do you think Jeremiah Donati, the athletic director at South Carolina, is or should be putting on Lamont Paris entering his 4th season in Columbia? Not a lot of data. You know, hopefully Jeremiah is learning patience with hires and giving these guys time to figure things out. And especially in this modern era where your team basically changes over 80% of it plus on a year-by-year basis. But Lamont Paris, Cole, is sitting at 50-49 now that one game of the 2025-26 schedule has happened. Before that, he was a dead even 49-49. Do you think this year is a referendum on Lamont Paris? Do you think that Lamont needs to be feeling some pressure to maybe make another push back to the NCAA tournament, which he did in 2023-24, to really have a good, safe feeling about his job?
I'd say he needs more support than he does pressure. And this goes back to, I believe, something that we as fans get wrong, and even the athletic directors and the board of trustee members and everybody else out there who is involved with hirings and firings. I believe that we often forget, if you're an AD, if you're in a position of power, yes, you should have pressure on your coach. You should expect to win. But are you, as an athletic director, doing every single thing you can do to empower them to win at the highest level, letting them bring in who they want to bring in, letting them hire who they want to hire, letting them get the authorization to do things that takes their program to the next level? So to answer your question, I think Diesel, with that being said, we forget a lot of times we think, oh, it's all on Lamont Paris. Well, no, not really. It's on Jeremiah Donati, too, to allow Lamont Paris to give him the tools that he needs to be successful. And I don't think that he's done a good enough job. I think Lamont's going to be fine. I don't think there's a lot of pressure on him.
I wonder if Lamont would say, hey, I need a better assistant coach. I need a better trainer. I need this. I need that. I mean, he's the one who's hiring these guys, right? Is he having to go to his 3rd, 4th, 5th pick to get who he wants? I don't know. But at the same time, Lamont Paris is at the mercy of a lot of times that the collectives and the people putting NIL money into these programs, because, you know, it becomes, well, who can we pay to bring in? Who can we kind of coach up and get them operating at a high level really, really early? It's going to be
real quick. Yeah. As an AD, how can I, if I'm your AD and you're telling me that, how can I, as the AD, make everything in this department better and funded better, from the Garnet Trust to the collectives to every single thing? It's not just about hiring and firing coaches. It's about an AD, Diesel, an athletic director, having his hand in every single pot and doing his best. I think we just put so much blame on these coaches, but, man, at the end of the day, the ADs have to do their part too.
Can he justify taking money away from football? If you're going to allocate money based on which programs are winning and which programs aren't, or you want to allocate it based on what you want to see as far as an investment. I want to invest in basketball because I want to see basketball be at the top half of the SEC. Well, that money's got to come from somewhere. And usually that means either cash strapping the smaller programs on campus even more, or it means taking a little bit of money out of your football budget. And how do you justify doing that when your fan base wants football to be king on campus?
And again, I think that's why it's such a tough job.
Yeah,
athletic directors do have a tough job. But guess what? If I want to be the best AD, that's an excuse. We're going to go find the money. It's an excuse. We'll go find the money. Well, if I want to win at the highest level, I better give my coaches the best support I can give them. I don't want to – I'm so sick of these coaches being blamed for everything. Let's give them the support they need to bring in the best players out there.
A couple of cupcakes over the next few matchups, but then it gets tough, Cole. We're going to see what this South Carolina Gamecocks team really is made of. They're at number 90 right now in the KenPom. Again, one game in, it really means nothing until you're 10 or 15 games in. But 4 week opponents to start the season. Then November 21st, they've got a matchup against Butler, the number 72 team in the KenPom, and then against Northwestern, the number 59 team in the KenPom. So, I think the South Carolinas Gamecocks are going to get off to a good start, probably a 4-0 start, hopefully. And then if they can split that Butler and Northwestern, now you're talking about, hey, we might have a pretty decent team on our hands this year.
You could be. And again, I said it earlier in the show, I think they have more depth. I do. I think they have more depth than they've had, and I think that's important. I think they're going to get more scoring production from that depth, get those guys going off the bench like they did last night, had a couple of guys off the bench really be productive, get Eli Ellis going. I still think he's very undervalued and underrated as well, and I think he's going to be just fine when it comes to being a role player in his position. Will he be a starter? Probably not, but I think he'll be just A-okay. So I'm excited to see what that bench production looks like.
Texter at 844-326-3663 says Lamont has to win or go. Program has plenty of money. He just can't recruit the high school level, and that's where your depth comes from.
What do you mean program has plenty of money, Texter? Where do you know that? What are you basing that off of? Again, these fans think they know so much, and I'm not saying they don't, but man, I'm not saying I know more than you, but I do. When you're in the know and you have sources like I have down there, I'm telling you, it's not all about Lamont Paris is a really good basketball coach, and if you think he's not, then you just don't know what you're talking about. Simple as that. You've got to do everything you can do to give that guy the tools and resources he needs in a conference that is demanding. I
do wonder, though, and you've heard this saying, it's an old one, you don't throw good money after bad. And I wonder if Jeremiah Donati feels this way. I highly doubt that he does. I'm just saying it just to make a point here. But if he says, look, we've thrown them the resources at a competitive level to other programs in the SEC where we want to be, and it's just not getting done, then it's not worth it to spend more money on this team than we already are.
Yeah, and again, if that's the case, then fire him, go get somebody else. That's the world we live in. That's the cycle. No, nothing's good enough anymore. Lamont Paris isn't good enough. It's just people don't understand, man. It is just tough. The answer nowadays is always fire somebody, and I think we've kind of missed the point, but that's just me. Diesel, we've got a lot of audio to get to. A good old-fashioned sports soundtrack audio blitz next. Tolos, we need your upset picks at 844-326-3663. We've had a pretty good day so far, but it can be better as we got to get to some audio, some of the hottest audio in sports right now on a good old-fashioned sports soundtrack, Audio Blitz. Let's see, Diesel, in this segment, while we're doing this Audio Blitz, let's get 12 more. Can we get 12 more entries?
I think we can get to 50 by the end of this segment.
That'd be nice.
That puts us at 50 on day one. That's a good spot to be.
Yeah.
Tolos, get us your upset picks.
Let's try to get them in, Tolos. 844-326-3663. If you haven't ever played or participated in the challenge, it's sponsored by Ingles Markets. We're at Ingles, right across from Mountain View Prep on Asheville Highway, 8650 Asheville Highway. Diesel and I here till 7. We need you to look on ESPN.com, find a game where you like the underdog to outright win the game. You then send in your name, the game, and the spread to 844-326-3663. If it hits, that amount of points will be allocated to your name. That's why it's important to send in your name at 844-326-3663.
Yeah, you could even get a big hitter tonight. If you want some instant gratification, if you're one of those kind of people, you could take Northern Illinois at Toledo. Northern Illinois, 14.5-point dogs on the road. I wouldn't advise it. They're 2-6, but it's not like they're playing a world beater, right? Toledo is 4-4, 14.5-point spread on this one. You could jump in on that game for tonight, or you could also pick the Kent State Ball State game. It would be Kent State plus 3.5 on the road at Ball State. If you think you know MAC football, that might be an interesting one worth taking.
I'll tell you what, there's nothing that screams I love college football like Kent State versus who? Northern Illinois.
Ball State.
Ball State.
Yeah.
Ooh, that's riveting right there, man. I tell you what, that is riveting.
Where is Rob Brown throwing all of his support behind Ball State because he thinks he's a ball knower?
That's right.
So why aren't people putting money on Ball State to become a good football team? Like I'm still waiting for some degenerate gambler with way too much money to go throw like $10-15 million in NIL money at a school that otherwise wouldn't have that kind of NIL money just to see what he can get them to do.
You never know. It could be Vandy Jr. Let's get to some audio on this sports soundtrack, Audio Blitz, some of the hottest audio in sports. Lane Kiffin this week at his weekly press conference, usually talking X's and O's and football, Diesel. Not this time. They were talking about how sometimes in Mississippi, only in Mississippi, do crowd sizes relate to hunting season. Only in Mississippi. Here's that audio from Lane. He said a small crowd. Let's start it over. Lane Kiffin educating us on smaller crowds and hunting seasons in Mississippi, and now you can hunt squirrels. And Lane let us know that you could kill 8 a day.
Have you ever hunted squirrel before?
Are
they pretty tough to get?
Depends what kind of if you're using a rifle or a shotgun. We used to just use shotguns; they were pretty easy. But you use a little old rifle, sometimes. But squirrels are frowned upon. They look at them as nasty. We, rednecks eat squirrels. So
what's wrong with eating squirrel?
There's nothing wrong with it. If it's cooked right.
There's just a lot of work, I imagine they're pretty lean, not a lot of meat on a squirrel.
I'm going to volunteer to take Lane Kiffin out of his bougie lifestyle and take him either deer hunting or duck hunting and get him out of the bougie lifestyle. I think it would be good. Can you imagine the content?
If they put a sorority house in there, I'm sure Lane would go.
I know, but just imagine that. I mean, that would be exceptional. Lane Kiffin in the woods in a duck blind. Are you kidding me? Sign me up. Let's get to some Braves audio. Charlie Culberson, former Brave, talking about Walt Weiss being named the new And Diesel, I talked about this yesterday. When fans don't get the sexy hire, they're upset. Sometimes the safe hire could be the better hire, and it might work out long term to prove that.
Well, fans want the splash, right? Braves fans want you to hire Dave Roberts away from the Dodgers, and that's not going to happen. So to them, we live in a microwave society. We live in an ADHD society where we want a guarantee, or at least a thought of a guarantee for the next 3 or 4 months before the season kind of kicks back off again, that, we made a good choice. This is entertaining. This is interesting. But it's not always going to be the case. And there's only a handful, just like college football, there's only a handful of elite names that just about any fan base would be happy with if they got hired. I mean, come on. We're talking about, LSU fans would be livid if they hired Dabo Swinney away from Clemson. That guy's got 2 national titles, and fans down there would be unhappy with that hire. But there's some fan bases that would be over the moon ecstatic with that hire. So it's all relative. It's all it's hard to make fans happy, especially when it's the internet age where somebody with almost no knowledge of the game can have an opinion, and that take goes viral, and then builds a lot of people behind them who feel the same way.
It does. Malaysia Fulwiley was one of my favorite college basketball players a season ago. I was deeply disappointed when she transferred to an in-conference program. Malaysia Wiley on transferring to LSU. I tell you what, Malaysia Fulwiley, when I watched her play on TV and in person, one of the most electric players at a young age, Diesel, and I was still am a huge Malaysia Fulwiley fan. But her going to LSU, I think it means something. It's was she not happy? I don't know. Something wasn't right. Because not many players leave Dawn Staley's program, but she did.
Yeah, I was about to ask that question. What kind of better coaching does Malaysia think she's going to get at LSU? And I'm not taking a shot at Kim Mulkey and her staff. They're phenomenal, right? They are in that mix every year because they are a very good staff, and Kim knows basketball. But I think Dawn knows basketball just a little bit more. And so why are you leaving a Dawn Staley-led program? Is it you just needed a change of scenery? Maybe you weren't seeing eye to eye with Coach. Maybe was it that they are throwing some money at you, but you don't want to come out and say that out loud? Is it there's a myriad of reasons.
Could be all of the above.
Maybe I didn't think maybe Malaysia didn't think she was going to get the playing time or play the role this upcoming season that she wanted to play. So she said, let me go over there to another big time program that's going to be in that mix. And that's going to be fun, Cole, if we see LSU and South Carolina match up again in the playoffs in a big-time matchup this season. I haven't looked at South Carolina's schedule. I assume everybody plays everybody in SEC women's ball.
I'll tell you this, they'll play them in Greenville in the conference championship. So I'll still pulling for her, but, man, that's really interesting. When you get to interesting audio, you cannot look past what Dabo Swinney said yesterday. He went off one more time on the refs, even after being fined. Diesel, I said on the show yesterday, I played this audio, and I said on the show, I want to get your thoughts and the thoughts of the Tolos who didn't hear it yesterday. The timing of this is horrible. It looks like Dabo Swinney is blaming it on a loss. The timing of this rant could not be worse because of the season Clemson's having. The fact of the matter is Dabo Swinney is 110% correct in what he said, but because of when he said it after a loss with a controversial call, it does look bad.
Sure. Yeah, he's right. I mean, I'd have to know what 10 calls or 14 calls he submitted. He said he submitted 10, and he got the confirmation back that 5 of them were incorrect. So, I mean, you can't go back and change the outcome of games. You think about a couple weeks ago, we were talking about the Auburn that was the touchdown. It was Auburn, Oklahoma, I think. No, it wasn't the Oklahoma game. It was the one
they
after
came back and said that Auburn was indeed right initially, right? Yep.
Right.
Yep.
And these are things that, if it happens in the second quarter of a game, if it's a down and distance that you get or don't get or whatever it may be, that can have drastic effects on the outcome of the game for the remainder of it. So Dabo's right here. And by the way, going back to that previous conversation about South Carolina, they play at LSU Saturday, February 14th on Valentine's Day. So that's going to be interesting to see if there's any love between Dawn and Malaysia. But you're right. It's going to sound like sour grapes, and the internet's going to get a hold of this and say, boo-hoo, Dabo, we don't care. And the thing is, Dabo, I know you're upset about the calls, but do you go this nuclear on bad calls in games that you win? I doubt it. I doubt it. I mean, so this sounds like sour grapes. It sounds like we lost, and I'm blaming it on the officials. And I think there's a lot of people who have heard Dabo's sanctimoniousness for long enough that they don't care what Dabo has to say anymore. It doesn't hold enough. Well, if Dabo's saying it, there must be some validity to it. Wait.
Kim Mulkey, you heard what Malaysia Fulwiley said. You just brought up South Carolina and LSU. What Kim Mulkey say this week about Malaysia? Let's try that again. Whoa, easy, Malaysia.
Taking shots.
Are we taking shots?
Kimberly, wow.
I mean, Malaysia taking shots, Kim taking shots, somebody's taking shots. Don Staley, I've never watched in my life. Look, Diesel, the fact of the matter is we who loved watching Malaysia up close and personal hate this on. Yeah. Sometimes a player can go to we talk about different scenery, a different coach, a different staff, and expand her game because she's not the best defensively. I think she'll tell you that. But Kim's right. Kim Mulkey's 100% right. Only way she's going to get better defensively is to sustain her minutes and figure out how long she can be elite offensively, but also on the flip side, defensively, sustain that level of defense and that high motor that she has offensively. I think when it's all said and done, Malaysia could be one of the best players we've ever seen in college basketball. She's that good, but I do think she still has to get better in some areas as well.
Cole, I don't know if you had a chance to play this audio yesterday on the show, but I saw it floating across my social media. Dabo Sweeney saying that he's going to ship a box of pennies to the ACC office to pay for that $10,000 fine. I'm not going to cut you a check. I'm not going to put it in 20s. It's going to be pennies, and you're going to have to count every single one of them.
We did play that.
that was a hilarious piece of audio, and all I could think of was Seinfeld when Kramer wanted to pay with a wad of pennies to buy a pizza or whatever, and the guy's like, "You can't pay me this." Well, it's legal tender. You have to take it. But man, Dabo getting a little chippy, getting a little bit edgy, and hey, I think that's a good thing.
Yeah,
that's a really good thing because Dabo's been too sweet. He's been too nice. He's he's just got that good old boy persona. But now Dabo's getting mad, and it's about time.
Yeah, I want to see that fire. I do. Last piece of audio: 2 Rams players, Diesel, just like you and I, Jared Verse and Byron Young, talking about daylight savings time and not really knowing how it works. This is, by the way, on the sideline during the game. Can make fun of people not understanding daylight savings. It does throw me off as well. Your body has to adjust to it.
Do what states don't observe daylight savings time?
See, I thought it was a lot of states.
Arizona, there's a few. So when you go into a state that doesn't observe it, your phone clicks back. You don't know what time it is, man.
So the only thing, Diesel, that I've noticed in these 3 days since it switched over, I do feel like the days are, I know the days are shorter, but I do feel like, in a sense, okay, it's getting daylight at like 5:45.
Yeah.
I like that sense of it because I can be more productive and I can get in the woods a lot more days too and be out by 8:30. But at the same time, you and I look out the window here at Ingalls, it is pitch black, and it's been pitch black.
I don't like it because I think it's selfish of the people who have to get up early in the morning.
Yeah.
To get all the daylight. And I don't like that at all, Cole. Like I'm a second shift person, okay? I'm not a night owl, but I'm a second shift person. I need bright light to keep me feeling fresh and effervescent as we are on this show every day. I don't like it. But the middle part of the season, once we approach that winter solstice, man, it's dark at like noon, and I don't like it.
Yeah.
That's crap.
Have you noticed, and this is weird, I think this is the first time in my life I've noticed this, but you and I have the same schedule every day in terms of the show. Used to driving in from Spartanburg, I'd leave 30, 45 minutes, whatever, go up 85. Every day going into the station throughout the spring, summer, and fall, you notice where the sun is. It's here. You still got like plenty of daylight. Diesel, I walked out of I got out of my car today at like 2:15, and the sun was already going down. And it just feels
good.
It sucks because it feels like the day's already over.
Yeah, it's terrible. It's terrible. We got to fix this.
Yeah.
I don't know how. I mean, I would just eliminate daylight savings time, which really is not going to fix the problem.
Just 1 hour.
The sun needs to get it in gear. Okay, the sun needs to stop this low angle stuff. It needs to come straight overhead at all times. It needs to get with the program.
That's right. I like it getting dark at 8:30, like it does during the summertime.
Right.
But that's just me. Good stuff on that session of the sports soundtrack, the audio blitz.
Always good to hear directly from the horse's mouth. When we come back, Cole, we'll keep that going. We'll talk to Travis Hancock, a.k.a. Bone, from the Mac and Bone Show in Charlotte on 92.7, the game there, or the fan there. And we'll talk Carolina Panthers. We'll talk Bryce Young. We'll talk Dave Tepper. We'll talk Dave Canales and Dan Morgan's strategies when it comes to not making any moves at the NFL trade deadline. Bone, next on the Fan Upstate.
Clear, but you got the live read.